I was seeing this girl for a few weeks. We'd been on 2 dates. Her name was Phoebe. We matched on a dating app and eventually met a few days later. She was 4 years older than me. Our first date was drinks, and our second date we went out with my friends on a weekend. My friends had neutral opinions about her. They thought she was, quote, nice and kinda quiet. They'd later reveal their actual thoughts on her, but I'll get to that later. Phoebe invited me to an upcoming high school reunion party. She told me she didn't want to go alone, and honestly, after she came to hang out with my friends and I felt like I owed her. This reunion party was falling on a random Saturday in the fall. It wasn't organized by her school, though. She told me that it was organized by this rich guy from her class, and it was being hosted at his house. I haven't had my high school reunion yet, but as far as I know, these things are usually held at bars or catering halls. We got to this guy's house, and it was admittedly a fancy-looking house. It had a gated driveway, but no fancy cars parked anywhere in sight. My thought was maybe the owner parked his car in the garage during the party. The second we stepped into the house, I felt like everyone was staring at us. More specifically, me. A few people came up to Phoebe and hugged her hello, then shifted their attention to me. I felt almost like I was being interrogated with some of the questions these people were asking me, like my whole life story, what I do for a living, who I live with. Finally, Phoebe pulled us away, only to go talk to more people who I also felt like were asking really personal and weird questions. There was also something about all the people in here. They seemed to be older looking than 28, which was the age Phoebe told me she was. Some of these people looked well into their 30s. I made a comment on that to Phoebe, and she said, yeah, some of these people aren't aging too well. I asked if she remembers all these people, and she said yes. I then asked who the party host was. I was curious to meet the owner of this big house. She said she hadn't seen him yet. Throughout the entirety of me being there, I felt like everybody was shooting me daggers. They wouldn't look away either. I whispered that to Phoebe, and she said back it's probably because they're wondering who I am. At the time, that was the only logical explanation I could think of too. It's hard to explain the growing awkwardness at this party, but I can assure you, this was not what a normal high school reunion would be like. There was no music and everyone was dressed weirdly, not like normal 28-year-olds. But that's the other thing. None of these people looked like they were in their 20s. I was getting uncomfortable with some of the stares I was getting in the room we were in, so I told Phoebe I'm gonna run to the bathroom. Realistically, I just wanted to get out of that room and explore the house a little bit. I didn't have a drink in my hand or anything to make me feel at ease. I was just walking around this giant house empty-handed, and anyone I passed stared at me. To say I felt out of place would be the understatement of the century. I found the bathroom. I stepped inside even though I didn't have to go. I locked myself inside just to sit and regather myself, take a break from the awkwardness outside. I texted all my friends about how weird this reunion was, and wondering how I could convince Phoebe to leave early. We'd already been there about 30 to 45 minutes, and this unnamed mystery party host was nowhere to be seen. Phoebe texted me, "Where are you?" I replied, "In the bathroom, give me a minute." Then I followed that up with, "This party's really weird, I'm down to leave soon." She said, "Why?" I said, "Everyone's being weird." Then someone knocked on the bathroom door, so I couldn't sit in there anymore. I washed my hands quick and left the bathroom, and the guy waiting outside, who looked like one of the younger ones here, said in a very low voice to me, "You should leave. That girl isn't who she says she is." I froze for a second, then said, "Phoebe?" He said, "Whatever she told you her name is." He then asked what she told me this party was. I said that she told me it was a high school reunion. The guy then smirked and said, "Do these people look like they're going to a high school reunion?" He left it off with, and I quote, "Trust me, leave sooner than later." And then he walked into the bathroom and shut the door. I almost knocked on the door to get him to come out and further explain, but I thought for a second. I was already suspicious and uncomfortable in this house. That guy just confirmed something weird is going on here. I walked straight to the front door without drawing attention to myself. I still felt people staring at me as I walked to the door. I walked straight from my car in the street and drove home. Phoebe texted me asking where I went. I didn't answer. When I got home, I looked up her number on White Pages. That number was not associated with the name Phoebe. The name that came up was Claire Foster. The address that I picked her up at both times is also different than the address that came up on White Pages, which made me realize I never saw her leave the house. She was already waiting on the sidewalk both times. I replied to her text, "I had to leave, I'm sorry," and blocked her number. My friends all made jokes, and they told me she thought she was weird and off from the start, but they didn't want to tell me that and make me feel bad. My one friend joked that it sounded like I was in the movie Get Out. My friends and family all have had little theories as to what was going on. Some people would even think I exaggerated the whole thing until I told them about the fake name the girl gave me, and the guy telling me to leave sooner than later. This happened when I was a young child, maybe like 8 years old. My parents had me late. My two older siblings are both at least 10 years older than me. I was woken up in the middle of the night to a commotion from downstairs one night. It was my parents. I cracked my door open and heard my parents freaking out about something. I wasn't sure what it was. I went to the stairway and stood at the top, calling down, "Mom, Dad?" My mom came to the bottom of the stairs and said to me, "Go back to bed." I listened without asking any questions. I could tell they were stressed about something though. I was trying to go back to sleep when I heard the front door downstairs slam shut, and then it was dead silence. I presumed they left the house, but I wasn't sure why. Either way, I listened to my mom and went back to sleep. I woke up again to sounds downstairs once more. It was the sound of the front door closing, and then footsteps, but no talking. Naturally, I assumed they were back home and just being quiet so that they wouldn't wake me up. I heard occasional steps and thuds from downstairs. I heard drawers and cabinets being opened and closed, and I thought for sure I heard the fridge opening too. I thought it was my older brother Chris, who's 10 years older than me, and at the time he was already driving, so he was going out and coming home late. So him getting home at like 2 a.m. and rummaging the fridge wasn't abnormal at all. These are all things I was telling myself, logical explanations as to what I was hearing. Eventually, I heard footsteps coming up the stairs, getting louder and closer until they reached the top and then made their way first thing to my door. My door quietly and slowly opened. I didn't sit up or move. I just had my eyes open facing the door as I was still laying down. There weren't any lights on outside of my room. Whoever was walking around was doing so in the dark, so all I saw was this black mass at my doorway, resembling the shape of someone's head. I said every name starting from Chris to Mom to Dad. Then I just said, "Who's there?" They didn't reply. They just closed the door, and I was left there confused but mildly creeped out. I heard footsteps going downstairs. I was convinced it was my dad now, just coming to check on me after getting home, though I wasn't sure why he was ignoring me. I didn't hear anything from downstairs for a while now. I allowed curiosity to get the better of me, and I went downstairs in the dark. I kept all the lights off as I was approaching the kitchen, and I froze at the doorway, noticing a tall figure standing right in the middle of the kitchen. I said, "Dad?" assuming it was him just based off the size of this person. A deep voice said, "Go back upstairs." I ran back up the stairs to my room and closed the door and jumped under the
I need to start off by saying that this story was told to me by my grandmother. She is somebody who has a crazy amount of factual recall and can tell a story from 50 years ago like it happened last week. This takes place in the late 1970s in the metropolitan Detroit area. My grandparents lived out in what was the boonies at the time. They were on a dirt road that was mostly fields, woods, and a couple of farms a mile or so to the north. Their house sat on 10 acres and was back off the road a ways, and then to the right of them was my great-grandparents' house, which sat about 200 feet away. To the left and right of their property was about a half mile of fields and then a main road. My grandparents lived in this house with their 3 children, and my grandpa worked midnights at a local auto plant. One night, my grandma is sitting watching TV. It's around 11 or 12 at this point, and she hears a knock on the front door. She peeks out the front window and can see in the moonlight that there is no car in her driveway or visible anywhere on the street. I have to give her credit for thinking on her feet in this moment, though. They lived in a tri-level home, which means that the basement is half underground and the upstairs is not as high up as the regular 2-story house. She went upstairs to their bedroom and opened the window, which was above the front step, and she looked down to see a man standing at the door. She calls down to him and asks what it is that he wants, and he explains that his car broke down up the road and that he walked back here to see if he could use her phone. He explained that he was on the way to his girlfriend's house, which was up at the corner. The problem with his story was that where he described his car breaking down, he would have only been a couple hundred yards away from his girlfriend's house, but instead of walking there, he walked back down the street half a mile. So she realizes that something isn't adding up and tells the guy that she unfortunately wasn't able to help him. The guy starts to get agitated and is pleading with her to please let him use the phone, and he promises that he'll be quick and then be on his way. While she's leaning out the window and telling this guy that he needs to be on his way, she can suddenly hear fast-moving feet on the gravel driveway off in the darkness, followed by a crashing noise as a second man comes flying out from next to the garage and hits the ground. At this point, the man on the porch turns on his heels and sprints off into the night and is gone. She looks back to the driveway to see that this man on the ground has a third man on top of him, who is raining fists down directly into his face. A moment or two later, the beaten man was able to wrestle himself free and join the first by sprinting off into the darkness. What my grandma didn't know while speaking with the guy on the porch was that while their conversation was going on, the man on the porch's accomplice was pressed flat up against the front of the house by the garage. These men were waiting for her to open the door so they could both storm in and do who knows what. But unbeknownst to them, however, was the fact that next door at my great-grandma's house was my cousin who was home visiting. He happened to be sitting up at the kitchen table and saw the two men approach the house and...
I'm a 20-year-old girl working at a Starbucks inside of a local grocery store. Our setup is different from the typical drive-through Starbucks. We're tucked into a cramped corner near the front of the store, and our counter and overall space is really small. The only way in is through the waist-high flapper door at the edge of the counter, or through the door in our back room that leads outside toward the dumpsters. I've been working at this store for about 2 years, so I'm familiar with the people that come in and out. There's a seating area with tables right by the entrance, making them available for anyone walking into the store to linger for as long as they like. My location is a problem with a lot of homeless people hanging out there and doing sketchy things. Some go as far as to sexually harass me on a daily basis. This is something I've reported numerous times to my managers, but they never take me seriously. They actually make jokes about it to my face, and even once said they don't want to deal with my drama and emotions anymore. This made me feel extremely helpless from the start, but I slowly learned to deal with the harassment on my own. After 2 years, I thought I'd grown thick enough skin for whatever bullshit my job throws my way, but something happened to me very recently that has left me completely shaken to my core. It started on a Sunday shift, when a homeless man I'd never seen wandered into the store. I was sure he was on drugs as his eyes were sunken in. He looked like he hadn't slept in days, and he was wearing dirty, raggedy clothes. The first thing he did was sit in the very far corner of the lobby with a couple bags of stuff, just staring at me. I couldn't help but get uncomfortable and stare back at him, hoping I could shake his gaze. The look in his eyes was totally new and strange to me, even after all my encounters with deranged freaks. He did not break eye contact and had an almost angered expression, like he wanted to hurt me. I hated the feeling of being watched, but it was busy as it usually is on Sundays, so I had to look away a lot so I could do my job. After several minutes of this, he suddenly stood up and started yelling loud enough to draw the attention of everyone in the area. He was shouting directly at me over the whole store, saying I had an attitude problem and calling me really degrading names. I was too shocked to say anything back, so I just stood there awkwardly. This made him grow more frustrated, as he started screaming even louder, now walking up to my counter. I panicked and quickly ran to the department next to me to tell a manager about it. She called store management over, and they finally confronted him. When they asked him what his problem was, he said that my leggings were disrespectful and insulting. I was behind a counter the whole time until I ran away, so I didn't know how he could even see my pants. At least on that day, he left without causing more problems. Unfortunately, he kept coming back. I didn't tell the store manager about him again because they made me hesitant to do so, given how they handled things in the past. The man sat through entire shifts from 5:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., spying on me from the corner of the lobby. He brought old paper Starbucks cups and tried to pressure me into giving him refills of drip coffee, but I would decline knowing he never made a purchase. One day, which is the day I'll never forget, he came in and sat in his usual corner. This time, he was wearing a big jacket even though it was 70 degrees outside. He eventually approached me with his same cup asking me for a refill. Then I declined as I usually do. But instead of just walking away, he slammed his fists against the countertop. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You're going to hell." People like you don't deserve to live. There was barely any space between us, so I froze, thinking about how I'm going to escape. But there wasn't a single person around to help me. Then, the man reached in his jacket and pulled out a pocket knife. He pointed at my face, repeating the same thing over and over again. He even started walking toward the door to get behind the counter. Panicking out of my mind, I jumped through the serving window. He immediately lunged back over and almost slashed me. I barely managed to get out of the way in time. Then I ran faster than I ever have. There was a storage closet close by, so I dove in there and locked the door behind me. An instant later, as I was scrambling for my phone to call the police, he was banging on the door like a maniac. He kept saying if I didn't open up, he would kill me. I was trapped in there for several agonizing minutes, terrified the entire time that he would somehow find a key and get inside. But thankfully, the police arrived before anything like that could happen. When they got there, he was still standing outside the door with the knife, just waiting for me to get out. He was arrested, but at this point, I don't know if he's sitting in jail or if he's been dumped out on the streets somewhere. I never knew what his intentions were, or if he was actually going to hurt me. But I'm still extremely frustrated. I know this could have been prevented if my store managers took my claims more seriously. It's been a couple weeks now, and I haven't seen him since. But every time I have to go to work early in the morning, I'm scared he'll be there again. Children say the craziest things. On a day-to-day basis, though, it's easier to believe that a kid is making something up or misinterpreting reality, rather than being 100% truthful. This is a story that should remind anyone who has kids to take them more seriously. I live alone with my 5-year-old son. My parents came over to babysit a lot during the day, but at night and early in the morning, it's just the two of us. One day, I noticed he was groggy and grumpy. I asked him if he slept okay, and he said that someone kept him up. Of course, I thought by someone he meant me, and that he was trying his best to subtly tell me to keep it down. I promised I would be quieter after he went to bed that night. However, for the next week, he never seemed to get out of that slump. He would shuffle around the house, making remarks about how mommy talks too much, or how he wanted mommy to stop messing up his room. I asked him multiple times to explain what I was doing wrong so that I could help, but every time I tried talking to him, he would look away and try to hide his feelings. I was worried he was developing some behavioral issues. My fears seemed to be confirmed when I went to wake him up one morning and he was already awake, sitting straight up in bed with a huge frown on his face. That, and his room was an absolute wreck. All his toys and clothes were strewn everywhere, looking like he'd spent all night trashing the place. Understandably, I reprimanded him for staying up past his bedtime and messing up his room. To my surprise, there wasn't any backtalk. All he did was sit there and sulk while I started to pick things up, before I thought to tell him to do it himself. I left the room and went to make breakfast while he got to it. When he came and sat down at the table, he said something that made me stop and think twice. Still upset from earlier, he grumbled, "I wish people didn't have to knock to get in a house." We didn't have a doorbell, so guests and couriers would always knock. I explained what doorbells were, but when I was finished, he asked if I could install a doorbell for his window. This made a pit form in my stomach. I asked him who was knocking on his window, but he just turned and covered his face. Again, I asked him if anyone was coming to his window, but this time he shook his head. I never knew him to lie, so this was a great relief. Something still felt weird, but my mom arrived soon after and changed the whole mood. Then I went off to work. That night, though, I was determined to get to the bottom of whatever was happening. I put him to bed around 8. Then I waited for my usual bedtime around 10. I walked past his door like I was going to bed. Then, about 20 minutes later, I crept out of the room and listened outside his door. That's when I heard it, knocking on the window. I quickly opened the door to see who it was, but there was nobody there. All I saw was my son laying down facing the window. I could tell he was faking being asleep, so I whispered to him to stop tapping on his window. He said, "Okay, Mommy." Then I closed the door and let him be. At this point, he was exhibiting more than one maladaptive nighttime behavior. so I found it appropriate to set up a camera in his room. I didn't tell him about it, but it wasn't exactly hidden either. It just sat on his dresser and faced his bed. I did a similar thing the very next night, but this time, I watched on my phone from my bed. I kept an eye on the camera from 10 to 11, but didn't see anything. I had to get to sleep eventually, so I decided to let the motion detector record anything that happened overnight. However, I had some trouble sleeping, so I was still awake when my phone buzzed about an hour later. There was movement in the room. I opened up the app and saw the most haunting image of my life. Someone was crawling through my son's window. The next moments were a blur of sheer panic and rage. I grabbed the club I keep by my bed for defense. Then I rushed to my son's room. I barged through the door to see some masked person in his bed, not just on it, but under the covers with him. I screamed bloody murder and ripped them out of the sheets. Then I started wailing on them without mercy. It was only when I could finally hear the screams from the person I was beating that I finally stopped. When I recognized the voice behind the mask. It was his mother, my ex-wife. I froze as I realized what I had just done in front of my child. His mother and father had just turned into animals, one literally trying to kill the other right in front of his eyes. They were both sobbing and begging me to stop, but I just couldn't hear it in time. I called the police to let them deal with the rest. My ex was arrested for violating the restraining order I filed against her on my son's behalf. The whole reason we separated and I got full custody was because of abusive things she did when our son was much younger. But I never thought she was still so obsessed with us, and crazier than ever. I know I was within my rights to do what I did, especially considering whatever sick ways in which my ex was trying to influence our son. But I just know it traumatized him beyond belief. He'll be dealing with those awful memories for the rest of his life. If I'd only listened more closely to what he was telling me, it could have been stopped long before it came to the catastrophe that it did.
I went on a Tinder date some time ago while I was adjusting to a new city I'd moved to. I didn't really know anybody there, so I used some online dating apps to see the dating scene around town. I landed one from a girl that seemed just like an artsy hippie type of girl. We had a few exchanges through the Tinder app and then decided to meet up for a drink. I picked her up at her house and she greeted me at the door and gave me a hug. She said the name of a local bar she wanted to go to for us to chat and get to know each other. I told her I would drive and proceeded to my car. The first red flag I noticed was when I walked to my car and opened the door, she had just followed me to the driver's side and was standing behind me staring. I looked at her blankly for about 15 seconds and asked if she was going to get in. She said, "Sure, I would love to," and went a long way to the passenger side around the back of the car. Since I had just met this girl, I figured she just maybe smoked some weed or something, as I had kind of gotten the vibe she was a bit of a stoner. As I was driving to the bar, she talked in a very low voice, almost as if she was trying to whisper. I'm not hard of hearing or anything, but I had to ask her to repeat herself several times just so I could make out the full sentences she was saying. When we got to the bar, I made sure we got a seat closer to the back, away from most people, just so I could have a little quiet in order to hear. The conversations honestly carried on as normal from this point, and it was actually a fun time for the time being. We talked about different things we were interested in, and she did bring up that she did recreationally smoke weed and a few other tripping substances, like shrooms and such. I'm not much a fan of these, but it at least made me relax in the back of my mind to think maybe she was just high off weed, and that rationally explains some of the out there behavior. Granted, I had a few drinks at this point, so I was honestly not thinking straight. I asked her if she wanted to go to my place after drinks, and she agreed. When we got there, we had a few more drinks, and then she started talking about her jewelry. This is where it gets weird. She told me her jewelry was her big secret, and it defined her. When I asked her why it was so important, she said, "I'm actually Anastasia, and I was never killed in Russia. My jewelry is my link to my past." It was hard for me to take that seriously at this point with how much I drank, so I kind of challenged that statement using the little bit I knew about history. At this point, she freaked out and started yelling at the top of her lungs about how I don't respect ancestors in history. Then she got quiet and tiptoed right up to me and grabbed me by the neck. She then brought my face eye to eye with hers, While still holding my neck, she says at this point, "I'm a shaman and I will curse you. My ancestors have destroyed many people and you do not respect that. You are from oppressive ancestors and they will be punished." Then she put her hand in a whiskey glass and made a cross on my face and kissed my forehead. At this point, I started to sober up a little. I talked her into calming down, telling her I was only joking. And then she slowly started getting back to normal. Then she started talking about her cat fetish. She tells me she has a list of people who she tames to act like cats. I'm not about judging people on their fetishes, so I listen. She then tells me about all the things she does to them and starts acting like a cat in my living room. If she had not yelled at me earlier on, I might have been almost turned on by it. My red flags in my head were tingling like crazy at this point, so I just listened and tried not to set her off. She noticed sage on my kitchen counter and asked me to light it and bless the house. I use sage to make my house smell better occasionally. It's kind of a ritual I like to do, but it's mine and my own. Something I take very personally and like to do myself. I tell her no, she can't light it, and that it's my thing to do on my own. She freaks out, telling me I'm a horrible human being and screaming all over the place. I told her I can take her home now, and she runs to the door and goes outside. As I get outside, she is screaming at the top of her lungs that I am a horrible person and I should go die. I tell her she can walk herself home then, and I go back to my place and lock the door. She then starts banging on the door hard in about 10 minutes, saying she left her phone in there. I grab her phone off the kitchen counter and open the door to hand it to her. She tries to barge inside, and I block her with my forearm. She acts like she's about to punch me. I just hold my ground and tell her she's not coming in. She screams she wanted the whiskey bottle we were drinking from, and I told her hell no because I paid for the damn thing. I slam the door at that point and lock it. I hear her bang on the door for a minute, then her footsteps going down the stairs. I waited about an hour and then went walking outside to see if she was still hanging around. I didn't see her, nor did I ever see her again after that. I know this is probably not the scariest encounter ever, but for the next few nights I was creeped out. Always walking around the area I lived to make sure she wasn't hanging around. Honestly, I hope she's okay wherever she is, but I hope to never see her again. I was dating this guy for a while and really liked him. Long story short, he said he couldn't see himself marrying me, but still wanted a date. So I broke up with him. A little bit of time went by and I decided to get back into the dating pool on Tinder, even though I hate dating apps. Matched with this guy named Chad. Good looking, educated, sense of humor. After a couple of weeks, we exchanged numbers and continued chatting. We discussed meeting several times, but our schedules clashed. One day, Chad texted me and asked to Venmo me some money to treat myself to a couple bottles of wine. Sounds awesome. I oblige. He also asks if I'd like to come over to his house after work. Says other people will be there. No pressure if I feel uncomfortable, etc. I actually didn't feel weirded out at all by this point, and I carry, so I agree. I bring the wine and head over to Chad's after work. He's there, and two of his friends are too. They all seem perfectly nice and normal. First weird thing, 4 total kitchen cabinets are completely ripped apart and smashed. This is a newer kitchen, nice cabinets. I inquire about the damage, and Chad says he was mad, so he punched them. Decided to not say anything about it. I grab an unopened beer for myself, then a coffee. Everything else is fine until I'm done with the coffee. One of the friends leaves, and a few minutes later, it's like someone has flipped a switch on Chad. He completely loses his shit out of nowhere, throws a metal bar stool across the house, screaming like a lunatic child, chucks his phone into the kitchen wall. The remaining friend steps outside to smoke. Chad comes up to me out of nowhere and bites my leg. I hit him in the leg, and he stops momentarily and then bites me again. I hit him in the head hard as shit this time, and he stops. I ask for the bathroom, and he walks over to show me, and I don't know how else to explain this, but he quite literally hurls himself up into the air in the hallway and lands flat on his back outside the bathroom door. Chad then gets mad that he has hurled himself onto the floor and punches a hole through the adjacent wall. I politely excuse myself to the restroom in utter shock. I come out of the bathroom. Chad approaches me and starts crying, absolutely wailing, going on about how his father is sick. This is a terrible time in his life, blah blah blah. I'm ready to get the heck out, but I'm also concerned this guy may actually hurt someone, and at the time felt some sort of responsibility to try to prevent that. I calm him down some, and Chad's friend comes back in. The friend is suggesting that we go fishing. Chad says he will, but would prefer to stay at the house to get to know me better. No way in hell. I agree to fishing so I can follow in my car and bail. Walking outside, Chad's friend gets in the driver's seat of Chad's car. I walk around and let the friend know I will be following in my car. They're cool with it. I get in the car. The door is still open. Chad realizes I am not in his car, storms over, and demands and begs I ride with him. He is completely adamant, but I stick to my guns and refuse. He says to go the heck home then, and slams my car door shut. He then gets in the passenger seat of his car with his friend, and they drive off. I sit for a few minutes, calming down, processing, and pulling up GPS to go home. I start driving through the neighborhood, make it around 3 corners, and stop dead. Chad is standing in the middle of the road facing me. He runs up my car at full sprint and slams both hands on the hood as hard as he can and runs them down like some sort of horror movie scene. He then runs over to my side, tries opening my door and rear door, and screams for me to open them. I decline. He punches my window, then the rear. I slam it in reverse and floor it around the corner as he chases me on foot. I slam the car back in drive and peel out of there as fast as I can. I see the friend pulling back into the neighborhood and honk, but I don't slow down. I heard him yell sorry as I drove by. The next day, Chad's friend found me on Facebook and messaged me, apologizing and saying he had never seen that behavior before. Chad also texts me and tries to apologize, saying his friend told him that he went psycho and he doesn't remember anything. I tell him he's lucky I didn't shoot him and to never contact me again. I have permanent bruises from the bites.
I'm from Cornwall, in the very southwest of England, so I'm very sorry for any strange punctuation and such, and I hope I don't come across like a thunder-twunt cuckwit. Now any road, I was a pizza delivery guy in the UK for a few years, ending in 2020 after I got COVID and had to self-isolate, by which time people just weren't ordering pizza in our little village anymore. We have a bunch of things in the UK. Proper cheese, Marmite, old remnants of World War II where you least expect them, Cornish pasties. You know what we don't have, though? Kaiju. At least, I thought we didn't, up until that night in the winter of 2017. I was sent out by the big pizza chain that I worked for to deliver a pizza to an address I'd never heard of. It fell just inside of our delivery area, and I was one of the moped drivers, and it was a bit of a struggle to follow the GPS directions while riding a scooter, so I kept having to pull over. I knew for sure that by the time I reached the customer, the pizza and sides were probably going to be cold, which meant a complaint and probably a discount that would come out of my wages. To make matters worse, the route seemed to be leading me down the back roads through the forest. Now, nothing wrong with that, in the daylight, but I've always been a bit of a scaredy cat, not gonna lie, so I just hunkered down and headed for roughly where I thought the location was. And then, I heard the kaiju sound. You know the sound. You probably heard something like it 1,000 times, even if you haven't seen a single Godzilla movie. It's like that bwong from Inception mixed with Godzilla's roar. Hollywood uses it in trailers all the time, but less so back in 2017. But every time, it's an indicator that something big, bad, and terrifying is coming. Bwong. I heard it through my crash helmet. Bwong. And I kept driving, not wanting to look up. Now, I knew deep down that a freaking Godzilla wasn't going to be towering over the trees. I knew a T-Rex wasn't going to come charging after me, and I knew King Kong wasn't about to beat his chest and howl at me, and I knew Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't about to tell me I was in a dream. But the sound was happening. I wasn't imagining it. Things just got weirder when I saw a cardboard sign up ahead attached to a tree. It literally said, "Pizza Guy this way." Yeah, that wasn't sketchy at all. Godzilla roars and a mysterious sign. I should have just booked it out of there. except now I realized where I was. Out in the woods was an old World War II bunker. We used to hang out there as kids sometimes, and there was an old broken air raid siren attached to the outside. Wincing against the sound, I realized that someone had got it functioning, at least enough to play their own recorded sounds through it. Now, you might think I was a total muttonhead for grabbing the pizza and heading to the door of the shelter, but I kinda knew who was staying there. It was a group of squatters, hippie types who wanted to live off the grid and had decided to make that air raid shelter their home until presumably the council came along and kicked them out. I knew because a buddy of mine had been hanging out with them a bit, and it made sense that he might have been the one to order pizza, or at least orchestrate it. I knocked on the door to the bunker. No answer. Well, I wasn't having that. The order was a cash-on delivery. If the pizza didn't get paid for, I didn't get paid. And so balancing the boxes of pizza, garlic bread, and chicken wings on one hand, I gave the door to the shelter a shove, and it just swings open. The sporadic siren sound was still going off. I kept my crash helmet on, if only so I didn't have to hear that annoying kaiju roar. They'd done up the main room of the shelter pretty nicely, and I remember coming here as a teen to drink and smoke and clumsily try and hook up with girls. The place used to be covered in shite graffiti and stank of piss, and now it looked like the hippies had painted it, spruced the place up. There were even a few potted plants sitting around. It would have been nice if not for the utterly eerie feeling caused by it being deserted. I was getting pretty fed up with carrying the food around and also that roaring kaiju sound, so I looked around, and there was a desk and what looked like some kind of audio equipment. Although to me it looked defunct, switched off maybe, but at least I had somewhere to put the food down, and inside the shelter the noise was nowhere near as bad. But then, even through my helmet, I heard the distinct crack of a footstep behind me stepping on something. Then, I felt the distinct crack of something hitting me square across the shoulder blades, hard. I let out a loud yell and whirled around. The guy who stood in front of me was topless, his hair long, lank, and greasy, and he had a wild and unkempt beard. His torso was smeared with something. Let's just say that it didn't smell good. He was holding a pole cue, and that's what he'd hit me with. I can't tell you exactly what he yelled at me, but it sounded something like, "Terrible lizard man, suckin' and willy." And then he smacked me with the pole cue again. This time he hit me in the head and the pole cue snapped in half. Now remember, I was wearing my moped crash helmet, so I barely felt the blow. But then this deranged lunatic started lunging at me with the snapped pole cue. I did the only thing I could think of. I jumped forward and head-butted him full force in the face, and in that moment, his nose pretty much exploded, sending blood all over my visor. And I could barely see, so I let out my own feral roar. Godzilla himself would have been proud. Then, I delivered the hardest kick I could muster right into the deranged hippie's taint. He hooted and hollered, and that was all the time I needed to shove him away, dash outside, flip up my blood-covered visor, and very slowly speed away on my pizza chain-branded moped. When I was what felt like a safe distance away, I called the cops. Of course, this was the British countryside, so it took them hours to show up at the old shelter, and by then I'd already gone back to the restaurant and explained what happened. I don't think my manager believed a word of it until the cops eventually called. They hadn't found anyone in that old shelter. They did find some blood and the broken pool cue and the jerry-rigged siren and the laptop. The hippies themselves weren't there, though. In fact, they were all accounted for at an outdoor rave in a farmer's field, all above board. They claimed they had no idea who my assailant could have been, and he was never caught. But the worst part, the pizza and sides had also been taken by the time the cops arrived. Thankfully, I did eventually get answers a few months later. The same guy tried to rob the local village post office. He was a violent crack addict or something who had been in and out of prison for years. When I was called to identify him in a lineup for one of his many crimes, an officer let slip that I'd gotten off really lucky. Here's the weird part. This guy swore blind that he did not set up that laptop to play kaiju roar inception boing sound. He copped to everything else, attacking me, the armed robbery, a few other things too, but that, he insisted it wasn't him, and so did those other hippies. None of them had any reason to lie, though, and nobody would have gotten in trouble for that. So who or what the hell was causing that strange, terrifying monster roar? I'm not sure I'll ever know, and frankly, I think I'm just okay that I survived. I'm a pizza delivery guy for a small independent joint in Kentucky. Now, I won't brag, but we have a reputation for being the best there is in our town. And I can't take much of the credit. I'm not one of the chefs. One of the reasons we're so popular, though, other than our buy one, get one free Fridays, is that we deliver a bit further out than our competitors. You see, we had the genius idea to invest a bit of extra moolah into a couple of delivery cars with heated seats. This has the bonus of keeping the pizza warm for longer, so we can deliver further out than our rivals. One of our regular stops is a local halfway house just outside in the boonies on the outskirts of town. We're the only pizza joint that delivers that far, and our competitors claim it's too far, but I don't believe them. I think they just don't want to deal with ex-cons and former, or supposedly former, addicts. But, I'll tell you what. Most of these guys who are just out of jail or down on their luck, they're some of the best tippers you'll ever meet. Most folks like this aren't bad deep down, at least not when they're faced with a delicious piping hot pizza pie as a reward for a hard week's work, anyway. So yeah, I always enjoyed getting sent on a delivery to the halfway house. I met some real interesting people too. Sometimes they'll order real late, especially if pizza was on the supervisor, and he'd invite me to join them for a slice if my shift was over. That's the beauty of working for a little independent joint. My boss doesn't care if I chill with the customers, and I bet Papa John's doesn't let you do that. Now anyways, this one night, I got an order for a single 12-inch pepperoni. Uncommon. Normally they'd order enough to feed half a dozen or so guys, but not unheard of. When I pulled up outside the halfway house, most of the lights were off. It didn't look like anyone was in. Except there's this guy pacing back and forth in front of the steps. He's studying his cell phone, looking very nervous and bothered. And I could see his very pale complexion in the headlights of my delivery car. Well, no worries, I thought. He's probably just jonesing for some pizza. And so I fished the bag out of the heated passenger seat and headed over to him. I opened with a nice greeting, but my words just die right there on my lips. I can just tell this guy isn't right. He's acting like a heroin junkie desperate for his next fix, scratching his neck, his eyes, darting this way and that, and I checked the name on the receipt. Hey, you Freddy? I asked him. And he looks at me, nods, and then his phone seems to buzz. His eyes are darting back down to it like the phone itself is what's giving him his fix, but if this was a fix, it was a bad trip. And by now, I've taken the pizza out of the bag, ready to hand it to him and head off. He's already paid through the app, and something told me this guy wasn't giving me an extra tip or inviting me inside to shoot the breeze with the other guys. I'm real sorry, Freddy says. And for a moment, I don't understand what he's saying. And then this fella just sort of fully uppercuts the pizza box that I'm holding. Just punches it upwards and towards me, so the damn pizza, thankfully still boxed up, smacks me in the face. I'm momentarily disoriented, and then Freddy continues to charge me. For this small, wiry guy, let me tell you that he was strong. I take a blow to the head, thankfully softened by the pizza box in my face and a swift jab to the ribs. Then, with the strength of someone who absolutely has to be driven by more than just regular energy, he shoves me to one side, runs straight for my car, and leaps in. Now, the fool that I am, I'd left the keys in the ignition to keep the headlights on. So Freddy does this absolutely epic U-turn, which would have been more impressive if it hadn't nearly hit me. Meanwhile, I'm tossing the pizza box aside and trying to get to my feet. Where's my damn cell phone, I thought. It turns out it had fallen into the bushes somewhere, and I could search for it later, but for now, I just had to watch as Freddy peels off in my wonderful new Toyota Prius that belonged to my employer. And let me tell you, this guy clearly could not drive. At the time, I had no idea if this was because he was on something or he simply couldn't actually drive, but I later found out that, yeah, he had no idea how to operate a car. So I just watched as my beloved Prius disappeared around the bend out of sight. Well, never seeing that again, I thought. Moments before I heard a terrible crash, and then the sound of multiple car alarms sounding at once. Freddy had made it about 2 blocks before reaching a more built-up area, spinning out of control and crashing into 3 parked cars. I didn't see this actually go down, but the owner of one of the totaled cars immediately calls the cops. I was torn between sprinting down the hill and checking out the site of the accident, or knocking on the halfway house to ask for help finding my phone and getting a general idea of what the hell was going on. And I opted for the latter. And so here's what happened. Freddy had done a short stint in jail for possession. He was a reformed meth addict, with reformed very much in air quotes, and he's been at the halfway house for just a few days. Apparently his girlfriend had been cheating on him while he was in jail, which really meant she'd broken up with his ass long ago, and for some reason when he got out of jail he expected her to be waiting with open arms, and instead she was engaged. So Freddy, in his infinite wisdom, decided that the best solution was to go and kill the fiancé. Then his girl would want to be with Freddy again or something, I guess. I don't know, I'm not on meth. But Freddy couldn't drive. So he found our pizza flyer pinned to the halfway house notice board, read the note that we delivered there, and decided his grand plan would be to order a pizza, hijack my car, and then go and kill his ex-girlfriend's fiancé. Maybe his ex-girlfriend too. I found out later that they now lived 3 states away. He was convinced that he'd managed to drive across multiple state lines in a stolen vehicle, having never operated one before in his life, and this master plan would go off without a hitch. He didn't even have a weapon. But the next day, he also didn't have any legs. I don't mean to make light of the situation, but it's freaking ridiculous, isn't it? This guy screwed up his heist so badly that when he crashed into 3 parked cars, the collision was so bad that it resulted in both of his legs having to be amputated, one just above the knee and one just below. Sucks for him, and I really mean that. I feel bad for this dude. And the rest of us, I guess we got off lightly. Damaged vehicles can be fixed. Amputated legs, as of now, not so much. Freddy went back to prison, of course, for a parole violation and then a whole host of different offenses. And I still work for that same pizza joint. But now, I'm manager of a new branch that we actually recently opened, and I still make sure our guys deliver to that halfway house. One bad slice doesn't need to spoil the pie, as they say, and on the occasions where I feel like doing a delivery myself, you can best believe those guys invite me in for a chat and ask me to tell them the story of the time a pepperoni pizza nearly cost me my life. I work for a pizza restaurant that prides itself on getting things right, and we're hella anal about it. We literally have one of those signs, like in the intro to The Simpsons, that says XXX days since the last incorrect order. Whoever's on shift at the counter has to be reset to 0, we all have to do a forfeit. It's all in good fun, but it just goes to show you how much care we take over getting things right. The funny thing is, we've never had a customer complain on the rare occasion we have made a mistake either. It's not like anything drove us to set up this little game, it just seemed like a cool idea. All of our regular clients were chill. And that is, until Colleen. Actually, in all fairness, Colleen had been chill in the past, but then we'd never gotten her order wrong before. Obviously, I was one of the unlucky ones due to a forfeit that day. I was the delivery driver, which meant that I should have quality checked the order before heading out. So, yeah, it does suck. But part of our perfect pizza promise is that if we get your order wrong, even one bit of it, you don't have to pay for any of it. It was around 5 in the evening. I arrived at Colleen's house minutes before the estimated delivery time. She'd clearly just gotten back from taking her kids to band practice or ballet or something, and she was hustling her children, a boy who looked about 12 and a girl who looked about 8, out of their station wagon. When she saw me, she huffed and was clearly flustered already, scolding me for being early. And as politely as I could, I told her that our estimated delivery time was just that, an estimate, and 6 minutes early was typically considered good. I could see her eyelid twitching at this, and her face was going red. The term Karen really wasn't a thing at this point, but Colleen was clearly going to be a Karen before Karens were cool. The kids were both just really excited that the pizza delivery girl had shown up. Colleen, meanwhile, was determined that because I was early, there had to be something wrong. First, she inspected the garlic bread. I've never seen anyone study garlic bread with such scrutiny. At one point, she was sniffing it so closely that I thought that it might go up her nose. The garlic bread was fine, and so was the rice, and so was the pasta. And then she opened the 20-inch pizza box, a delicious-looking margarita pizza with extra cheese. The kids looked on with awe and excitement. Colleen, meanwhile, flushed beet red. Her eyes opened wide in that kind of angry, preemptive way that some people manage when you just know that the poop is about to hit the proverbial fan. She looked at the pizza, and then she looked back at me, and then back at that pizza again, and then back at me. She spoke her next words slowly, carefully, deliberately, like I was the stupidest person she'd ever met. There is no pineapple on this pizza. That's correct, ma'am. And for a moment, I was confused. Why would there be pineapple on a double cheese margarita? There's supposed to be pineapple, you little idiot girl, Colleen hissed. I looked down at the receipt. Balls. She was right. She'd ordered pineapple as an additional topping on the margarita. Ma'am, I'm so sorry, I said. But good news. This means your whole order is free. Colleen stared at me like I just told her we'd filled our stuffed crust with her dead grandmother. Angrily, she shout-hissed that she does not care about free. She cared about the missing pineapple. She wanted the missing pineapple. And then her kids, bless them, spoke up. They said they really didn't mind, that they didn't actually like pineapple on pizza all that much. I thought I could see fear in the son's eyes as they spoke, and that's when I knew something was very wrong. We ordered pineapple! Colleen shrieked. Then, with a dexterity that only an angry soccer mom can muster, she hurled the entire 20-inch pizza box straight at me. It hit me square in the face, and I just stood there for a second, trying to push down my bubbling anger. I couldn't retaliate. I couldn't even yell back. Never before had I experienced a customer hurling a pizza in my face, and it was still hot. It hurt. The most I could do was quickly reach up and try and wipe the melting cheese off my skin before it burnt me. Colleen's daughter had begun to cry. "Oh, now look what you've done." Colleen screamed at me, as if it was my fault and not her lunatic rampaging outburst. I didn't think that it could get worse from there, but I didn't factor in Colleen's insanity, nor did I factor in her seemingly fresh manicure. This smartly dressed, tightly wound woman in her 30s leaped at me like some kind of horror movie werewolf. Her claws were out, and she wanted to hurt me. I screwed my eyes tightly shut to protect my eyeballs, and by God, I'm glad I did, because I felt her sharp nails raking down my face across my cheek. Her kids were screaming. I was screaming. Colleen was screaming. Then, my savior appeared. I couldn't see her at the time, but I later recognized her as another customer, Shauna, who lived a few doors down. A large woman, she barreled into Colleen so hard that Colleen went flying along the sidewalk, crashing into some plastic recycling bins. I wiped at my eyes, desperately trying to clear them of cheese and tomato sauce, and Shauna started to ask me if I was okay while Colleen's kids screamed and cried. Then Colleen was up, charging again, this time directly at Shauna, and through blurry vision I saw that she was holding her keys like some type of weapon. No, I wasn't having Shauna, my savior, getting keyed by this dumb party soccer mom over the lack of pineapple on pizza. I can't explain how I did this. I had zero experience in fighting or combat, and especially not wrestling, but as Colleen charged Shauna, I reached out my arm and braced myself and fully, perfectly clotheslined that bitch. This might have been my imagination, but I swear both of Colleen's kids cheered. With Colleen winded and knocked to the ground, Shauna proceeded to straight up sit on her until the cops arrived. Next, the kid's father, Colleen's ex-husband, Colin, I'm being serious when I say that name, turns up. The cops took Colleen away, Colin took the kids away, and Shauna and I had to go to the station to give our statements. Colin and Shauna both remain loyal customers, so I got to find out a little more about what happened. You see, Colleen had developed an addiction to both Xanax and Adderall, and between that and a messy divorce, I guess she had gone a little cuckoo. Colin had been fighting for custody of the kids, but the courts in our state aren't particularly known for siding with fathers. After Colleen's pizza attack, though, thankfully the kids got to live with Dad and eventually had court-appointed supervised visits with Mom. Colleen didn't go to prison. She went to a psych ward for a bit and then rehab, and I agree with that decision. Meanwhile, Shauna, Colin, and the kids were given VIP cards to our restaurant, which meant that they could eat there twice a month totally for free. Oh, and in case you're wondering, the boss decided we could waive my forfeit for the incorrect order this time. Being almost blinded by pizza and false nails was deemed punishment enough.
There was a pretty big thunderstorm going on this night. Nothing dangerous or anything, but enough to keep everyone inside for the rest of the day. I'm one of those people that enjoy rainy nights, or even storms. Something about it just makes me feel cozy and relaxed. Whenever there was a night like this, I'd always spend the night on the couch watching TV and listening to the rain. Luckily, I didn't have work the next day, and although it was already 8 p.m., I decided to make a hot cup of coffee and stay up as late as I could to enjoy the cozy night. I sat down and turned on a movie. It was only 20 minutes into the movie when my phone started ringing. I picked it up and looked at the number, but didn't recognize it. However, the area code was from this city. I answered just in case, always worried it might be something important, or someone I knew, but just didn't have their
Everybody go north. Everybody stand on that thing. Ryan, Goku, go stand on the thing. You guys are gonna all pinch me and attack me with punches. Do you understand? 3, 2, 1, go. Wait, time out. Wait, time out. We gotta do, listen, we gotta do it again. Bro, punching is actually crazy. Bro, that was, we need, okay, first of all, we need 2 more people. Right? 100 men is, like, the gorilla just lost one. That was a practice run. Everybody, same exact formation. We need 100 people side by side. We're gonna try this one last time with just melee only to see if it's possible. I'm gonna pot up. Wow, with 91 people, you guys are taking orders very well. Good job, guys. I'm gonna kick the shit out of you all. 100 men, 1 gorilla. I'm the 1 gorilla. These 100 men are all gonna punch and kick me. I'm the guy with max gear. I'm the gorilla. The question is, will a gorilla win? Or will 100 men win? Come on, auto block. Come on. 100 opponents. Look right there. 100 men. 1 gorilla. The auto blocker. Okay, this is it. Okay, I'm gonna wait for a countdown. Actually, you guys can all flood. Don't wait. Attack.
Yeah, Solana.
I think I do it again, but I bring a Blood Fury. Let's try that. Oda, but you didn't even kill 1 person. This is impossible. I'm not gonna lie, you guys did decimate me pretty fast. But if I bring Baraga, it's like GG's, no? Because if I Barag, actually, I only could Barag like 11 people at a time. So it wouldn't even be GG's. Oh my god, this is actually gonna look so realistic. Look at me now. I just don't have a head. Oda max melee is too hard. It should be a mix of medium and high level men. I got an idea. I know what needs to be done. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my god, I fucked up so bad. How did I only kill 1 person? As soon as the timer goes down, you guys ready to punch me to smithereens. 100 people, 1 auto block. Somebody's, no protection pairs, no protection pairs. Wait, saturated heart counts as a drink. I didn't know that. I'm Barag again, running away immediately. Somebody just void rakered me. fuck down. Sit down! Sit the fuck down. Sit the fuck down. You got a little ambitious. See, I'm enraged right now. Sit down! You got a little... Sit the fuck down. You got a little ambitious. You got a little ambitious. You did well, but I did better. You did well.
Wait, the men are smart. They're using their IQ.
You did well, but I did
They're
better.
hitting me and running away from the casts. Oh my god, look at the IQ of the men. Oh my... The remaining ones are smart.
You got a little ambitious.
I need to cast Baragas. The remaining men are smart.
Sit down! You got a little ambitious. Sit down! Sit the fuck down. Sit the fuck down. Sit down! You did sit the fuck down. Sit the fuck down. Sit down! Sit down!
I need to start blogging some of them. It's over for you men! I'm gonna win!
You got a little...
Oh, look how many! Oh my god, I just killed like 7 men at once.
Sit the fuck down. You got a little ambitious. Sit down! You did well, but I did better. Sit the fuck down.
Give me one more
Sit
rant!
the fuck
Come here,
down.
Mr. John. No rants for you, buddy.
You got a little
You guys are all dispersed now. You guys don't even know what to do.
Damn.
Look at me.
You got a little ambition.
Nice tempo. Don't run. I see you. Come here, mother record. Look how you guys are dispersed, not even fighting amongst each other. Yeah, look at you.
You did well, but I did better. You got a little ambitious. You did well, but I did better. You did well. Sit down!
These guys just gave up. They're literally taking a seat. Huzzy's a cheater. He was pre-anglered. We just saw that. He had food as well. Huzzy had food. Wait, we just spotted it. Referee, right in front of you. Huzzy.
You got a little ambitious. Sit the fuck down.
Fuck them up. I'm a gorilla too. No, you're not. No, you're not. You can speak my language, but you're not one. You're not me. You're not. I smell some men hiding in the depths.
You got a little ambitious.
I need to find them. Ooh, Where are they? Where are they? I found one. I found one.
You did well, but I did better.
You motherfuckers, these 100 men thought they could kill this gorilla. It's great. Come here, you Ziggy! Fuck you up in front of you boys like this is your king! Later, Credder. Later. You guys could have gotten 100 mil each. You know what? You guys even had somebody in the clump specking with Karasi. Somebody was specking me with Karasi. So that means they would guarantee doing at least 20 damage every time. At least. Please, I have 2 kids. Fuck your kids. Yeah? 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 I'm a winner today, gentlemen. I'm a winner today. Okay, there's 2 more hiding and 3 more people hiding. Which means that they're trying to go where I've already checked, where they see me going on stream. Oh my god! Clitoris! I found clitoris! Nice try, brother. Sit down! Yup, there's another guy. 1 guy left. Where is he?
He's at the jail staring at the corpses.
He's looking at his fellow brethren.
Mm-hmm. Zeb too.
Yup.
You got a little ambitious.
Goodbye, Fooligan. I can't believe that I just won that. I can't believe that I just won that. That's crazy. A gorilla just beat 100, man. To be fair, you guys did have cheaters on your team, though. Like, to be fair. Oda, you're a gorilla with mage. I think that even if there's no blood baraga allowed, I think I'm still winning. How do you guys feel about that? The reason why I say that is because I'll ice baraga and flick full Justicara on and have a full inventory of P-Necker. Full inventory. Let's run it back. Let's run this one back. Last one, guys. Last one. We're here to have a good time. Last one, gentlemen! No.
You did well, but I did better. Sit the fuck down.
Somebody has DDS. I just saw.
I did better.
I just saw somebody poke me with a DDS. Like 100% sure.
I'm looking. I have spec disabled anyway, so they couldn't spec you. But I'm equipment inspection.
Sit the fuck down. You did well, but I did better. Sit down! Sit the fuck down. Sit down! You did well, but I did better. You did well. Sit down! You did well, but I did better. Sit the fuck down. You got a little ambitious. You got a little ambitious. You did well, but I did better.
You guys will not best me! You will not!
Sit down!
Bro, this guy knows I'm gonna win. He turned to a rock. Who sees that?
You got a little ambitious. You did well, but I did better. Sit down!
got a little ambitious. Sit down! Sit down! You got a little ambitious. You got a little ambitious. You did well, but I did better. You got a little ambitious. Sit down! You did well, but I did better. Oh no! You did well, but I did better. Sit down! You did well, but I did better. You got a little ambitious. Come on, Gorilla, come on. I got this in the bag. Wrap it up. It's over. They're all gonna just start running away from me because they know I can't die. It's impossible. Run away, humans. Run away! You guys all lost. What a 61. So a 39 combat, Infernal Cape, 50 attack, 23 strength, 49 range. This is gonna be so hard to get kills on. Okay, wait, Lola, you probably know this because I didn't even ask him. What did he kill Zuck with? Was it Addy crossbow when he was level 39 or what?
Probably, yeah. I know like for the 47 one or something like that, that's what he used, I think.
Oh my god, come on. Down to the wire. Okay, that's a 10.
This is the world record. Wow, look at that. 39 combat Infernal.
Good luck with that, man. You got this.
Thank you, brother. We'll try this. Bro, do you know a guy called Afzallah?
Afzal?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like cracked at the Inferno and stuff.
Yeah, bro. He just, today, he gave me an account that's level 39 on Infernal, the world record, and I'm gonna use it for a video. How sick is that?
Yeah, that's nice. Bro, I don't know. Afzal used to be super chill with me, and then I went to stream and I'm banned there. I was like, okay.
What the fuck do you do, bro? I feel like you Infernal guys all have beef, like, with each other for no reason.
Oh, no, bro. Like, it's just me, actually. They just, like, the whole Infernal community hates on me a lot, but whatever. Like, it doesn't matter, man.
Like, Lola, did you do something? Be honest. Like, no cap.
It's a long story, bro. I really don't want to get into it. Like, it's so long. It's so... I'll get into it, like face-to-face one day, but it's so long and complicated, bro. Whatever.
I see. Like, it's like underground shit, or is it like what is it?
I never you know, I never went like too public with it. I never like, but whatever, man, doesn't matter.
Do you and your Lola have beef? Well, what makes you think we have beef? Is it the fact that he's banned in this chat?
I don't even give a fuck about the Inferno, bro. That's the thing. Like, that's what's funny, you know? It's like...
I have no problem with Lola, guys. I didn't ban him, by the way. I didn't ban Lola. I don't know how to unban him now. We're hosting Lola tonight, boys. The only way we're hosting Lola, and I want to, is if he unbans me. Because I'm actually banned with Lola. I think he doesn't like me.
Lola,
and who knows? Maybe it's not even him that banned me in the stream. Maybe it's like one of his mods and he doesn't even know. Like, I haven't like talked to him about it or whatever.
But the thing is, I was trying to bait him to like be like, yeah, I'm better. Like today, like he came to my stream and he let me use his account. Like he gave me access, and I was like, "Yo, are you better than Lola at Inferno?" And he didn't even want to answer that. Like he was just like being a little bit humble. I was like, "Oh, then."
No, but Absol is super chill. Absol is super chill and humble. That's why, like, I don't know why I'm banned in the stream for it. Like, I never had a bad interaction with Absol.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Level 39 Inferno is fucking impressive, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro, absolutely cracked. Like, absolute demon, 100%.
Go to your PC search bar and type Parsec, asking for a friend. Hey, man, even if I do have Parsec, alright? Like, you can't prove that I use it for capes. For those that don't know, Parsec is like pretty much the best remote access software. And for those that don't know, remote access software is the best way to get your cape because it's hard to detect the fact that you bought the cape if you're doing it from your own computer with your own mouse and keyboard. Honestly, for those that don't know, there hasn't been an Infernal ban wave since like 2020 October or something. They have not banned anyone for the Inferno for over 3 years now. Who needs Parsec anymore, man? That's what Jagex is saying.
Level 39 is insane, though. I'm not gonna lie, bro. That's crazy.
Yo, is there even gonna be any like where are you gonna go PvP with it?
Bounty Hunter.
Oh, okay. You think there's gonna be people in that bracket, really?
I mean, there might be a few kills. All I need is like a couple of clips to make a video.
Yeah, facts, true.
No offense to Lola. Like, I love Lola, but that guy's hella better than him. That guy, Afzal, the guy that has the lowest rank Inferno on his peer. I'm not even trying to, like, make problems happen, but what the fuck, bro? That guy's a demon.
No offense to Lola, but Afzal's a demon? Oh, guys, Lola's well aware of his own skill level. There are probably like 500 people better than Lola. But, you know, you gotta admit, you gotta give Lola where credit's due. He's done a pure cape, and he could do an MSB cape. You'd be surprised how many, like, of the speedrunners, I don't know if I can say that actually. Frankly, I don't think he's trying to compete with anybody. He does it for the vibe. So how do you even do a 39 combat? Inferno? You lose pillars early? You'd be surprised at how late you can, you know, protect your pillars until. I think you lose pillars in the mid to high 50s, sometimes even in the like early 60s. But when the pillars do drop, you have to like maybe I could show you like wave 62 or something. Hang on. Would you guys want to see that? Okay, here's wave 63. Wave 63 on the 39 combat account. Palms sweating just watching this. Holy schmolies. So, you stand in a particular tile that when the melee digs, you can use the other NPC as a safe spot. And then when you're two-tick flicking like this, it's like the core of any low combat account, this flicking pattern you're seeing. And then you should be able to step in on the melee every like 12 ticks or something, which is good because I think it can dig it has a chance to dig up to like, if you haven't interacted with it for up to like 15 ticks or something like that. So works out. You prevent it from digging by stepping in like that and using your diamond bolts to try and kill it as fast as you can. Rock hard watching this. We'll watch it die and then I'll fast forward until it respawns. So you zoom out. Before you go and run out of here and try and kill everything else, you need to wait for it to respawn, so I'm going to skip ahead. It respawns, I go back to that tile where to stand to make sure it traps onto that blob. It digs. I do the same thing again. You can't, like, RNG these things. You need to be able to see where it is and then plan ahead of time. And even with that, these accounts are, like, insanely hard. This took me, like, a long time. Maybe somebody else better than me could have done it in fewer attempts. You can make that argument for sure. So we'll fast forward until it dies, just so you know how like this works. It dies, and then I step out. I untrap the ranger, bring it down like that. I don't know why I'm going here, but I am. Oh, bringing the blob over. Why? Why the hell did I do all that? I'm pretty sure there was like no reason for any of that. What the? Oh, I remember now. Yeah. So sometimes they take a long time because you're, holy, I'm cracked here. I'm pretty sure I did this to simplify it. What all this is to lure the NPCs on the north side of the mage, and then I like kill it from the south side and not have to risk dying to the globs. Oh wow, that looks ugly. Hang on. It'll fix itself, I think. Yeah, you'll see. Mage, while only flicking the ranger guys, I'm trying to run in a way where the mini blobs all get off tick. And this is just a
Hello? Can you hear me this time? Dude, I'm so sorry. Am I late?
Why?
Just be honest. Like,
No.
were you like upset? Were you just kind of like subconsciously like, oh, what is this guy doing?
It's like you're actually perfectly on time. Because I had a sponsor and then I had to pee. So like it's perfect.
Are you just being nice?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll take it. Whatever. I'll take what I can get, right? Wait, I have an unban
can we play the-
request. Do you mind if I look?
Yeah, go crazy. Just add more time to the clock, I guess. Just add more time.
All right, never mind. I won't look at it then. Sorry.
Is it funny? Is it a funny ban? Is it a funny unban request? Will?
Bro, I don't know. I don't know why this guy got banned. He just said, you owe me $20 and a pack of cigarettes. You owe me $20. You owe me $20. You owe me $20. PBR is good, you dumbass. Hey, bro, you owe me $20. Like, genuinely, he just kept typing that, I guess.
Maybe he's desperate, dude.
Yeah, this was 7/13/2020. He said that was years ago. I grew up, I graduated college since then. My prefrontal cortex has developed. I think I'm normal now. If you deny, that's cool too, I understand. I've just been into OSRS again lately and I've enjoyed the stream. The ball is in your court, no pressure.
That's an unban.
I was not expecting it to be so nice.
I mean, it was 5 years ago, and it wasn't even that bad 5 years ago.
No, it wasn't even me. It was like one of the mods banned him. Honestly, it probably should have just been like a 24-hour. Like, it did not need to be a perm, you know? Oh, I feel
Maybe
bad.
fire your mods.
Yeah, well, no, it's a job that nobody wants, so you know what I mean?
Oh.
Okay.
You gonna
gotta
host?
do it. Yeah. Let me start the game. I'm so sorry. Like, again, I
Why are
won't
you
waste any more of
apologizing
your
so
time.
much?
I just feel so bad, you know? Like, I just was like showering
Fine,
and
Will.
like eating a meal really fast and like, you know what I mean?
Am I giving the vibe that I'm angry at you?
It's coming off in a way like I just, as soon as you picked up, I just felt like this hostility, and I think everyone can kind of agree with me on this.
I'm actually really happy, Will.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just being nonchalant because I heard it's a good way to farm aura.
I think I agree with that, yeah. Do you,
I'm trying to get some
do
aura.
you consider yourself as someone that has aura?
I have no aura, but now, after today, I've got aura.
What, Chiblee, what do you look like?
I've actually debuted because I was at Ludwig's burial cart, and the only thing I'll say about the burial cart is that I was there on camera.
That should be the only thing you say, I think. It's probably for the best.
Yes. But I was there, so now people know what I look like. I got like a bob, I got a fuck-ass bob, I've got a little mustache.
Really? Oh, so you're like...
I'm cool.
You're cool, okay, good.
I'm
Okay,
copying
let me
you.
host. You're not copying me, don't say that.
You're actually a really big inspiration for the mustache.
Really? Why? Why would you want to look like me? Okay, let me
just start the game.
Let's just invite, Chiblee, you are offline again, is sort of the thing. You like doing that. Oh, wait,
I was hiding
offline
from the
too?
Huzz.
I think I might also be offline. Wait, when I
Is
searched,
that cool what I just said?
yes, the Huzz.
I was hiding from the Huzz.
It's Will
I'm online
7.
now.
My friend will not stop saying Huzz. And it's
Your
kind of
friend,
sour.
or
Yeah, like my IRL friend, he like will not. He cannot go 20 seconds without saying Huzz.
Is he cool?
I think he's cool, but I've really been trying to not start saying it. Or do you think I should? I don't know. Is Huzz cool?
Hello?
Okay, let me mute.
Hello? Wait! You can hear
Lauren,
me,
thanks
right?
for the sub.
No, you didn't fix it. It's cooked.
Wait, I didn't fix the echo?
Yeah, why do I echo?
I think you're just so loud. I always turn you down to like 40, but it resets to 100 every time. Here, talk.
Hello?
It's gotta be my open back headphones and my sensitive mic.
Well, I've got open back.
Will, we're seeing a black screen right now. Oh, yes. Kind of forgot about. I just kind of was like playing a game with my friend. I kind of forgot you guys were here.
Wait, there's an offline sesh with the boys.
Sorry about that.
You're very apologetic today.
I'm very apologetic in general. I was apologizing to them, not to you.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. I mean, I'm just like a nice guy. So, like, how was your sponsor? Now that it's over, you can say what you really feel.
Well, I have to do another one next week, so I can't really be too honest. I can be honest. It was not that bad. It was fun. It was fun. It was
that
fun.
was crazy. I was really like, I was not even trying to get you, but you got yourself. That was crazy. I can't believe you did that.
It was fun. No, it was fun.
What game?
Break. You ever heard of? I'm gonna pitch it to your chat.
Yeah. Is it good or?
I liked it.
I gotta remember how to play this game. So you climb by just holding, or no, you gotta wait for your stam. That's like a big whole thing, right? Is huz short for husband? Yes, it is. It basically means like your significant other, is what it means. So like it could
how do we do
be
the
wife
combined
or
stream
husband
without the
or
chat?
partner, or you know what I mean. Combined stream without the chat, I don't think is that possible?
I think it is. All the cool people do it. We don't have to do it, but I know the cool people do it.
So no combined chat, but the combined stream.
Yeah, do you want to do it? I can have a look. Hang on. Stream
How does it
together.
work? So what does
Oh
that
my God.
even mean? I don't get that. I don't get what that means.
I think it just.
Tonight we're trying Elon's Tesla Diner. Oh, let's go. Shout out to the boys. This bro's from my home. He's a legend. Yeah. Okay, homie, so this is Elon's first Tesla Diner, and it only opened just over 24 hours ago. So it opened 4 p.m. yesterday. I actually feel very lucky to be here and to be able to review this, because as you know, I'm from New Zealand. Came here to do my American food tour, and bruh, didn't even know this was opening. I think we're halfway there. But homies, this place is absolutely crazy. There is literally nothing like it in the world. Coming back. Yeah. Yeah, fist bump. Yeah. In a 5 hour. Kiwis in the bacon. Oh, I see. Actually, bro, I'm just coming back tomorrow at 11 a.m. to get line. We just walked in. Yes, we waited in line. But for 4 hours, nah. I always wait in line.
Never wait in line.
I always wait in line.
He's never gonna wait.
Mikey, bro, he's the man. Wait, where are you from, Mikey?
I'm originally Persian.
Yeah.
Iran.
And did you?
I'm born and raised here.
Yeah, born and raised in LA.
I have a jewelry company in downtown.
Man.
Diamonds for Love.
Diamonds for Love. Shout out to Diamonds for Love. Yeah.
On Hill Street. Hit us up for all your needs, engagement rings.
Yeah.
Bands, bracelets, you name it, we
Man,
make it.
bro's got the rocks.
Yeah.
So where's your diamond ring then?
If you walk up to your crush and point blank ask them, who are the top dogs in the oceans and seas? Best bet is they're gonna say sharks. Yeah, we have things like orcas, barracudas, giant squids, etc. But most people still think the salty waters of Earth are ran by Jaws. However, at the same time, in the grand scheme of life, sharks' claim to be king is a relatively new one, as they only became prominent marine hunters following the end of the Mesozoic, which saw the extinction of the previous nightmares like the mosasaurs and plesiosaurs. What's strange though, and unbeknownst to most, is that sharks actually already had their chance hundreds of millions of years ago before the Mesozoic, and were actually doing better than they are now, representing in many ways.
All good, guys. Welcome to Scary Saturday, the flu game edition. I'm feeling very sickly. But listen, has that stopped me before? And now, sure, am I gonna get so scared that I throw up or something? Maybe. But that's what we're here for, right? That's what everyone's praying happens. I like to think. Maybe not. We'll see. But I'm really, I'm excited. This game's been recommended a lot. Play a Menti again. I wouldn't be scared again if I played a Menti again. You know what I mean? Like, you guys recommend that every single time. It's crazy.
Give me the goose.
I would know... Play a Menti 2. When it comes out, I'll play it, but I don't want to. I can't think of many things that I want to do less than that. Yeah. I think probably play a Menti 2 is like
It's
gonna be because the Menti 1, that was the worst day of my life, and I think everything that's happened to me since then is just it's all been downhill since then.
What's
So
good, baby girl? I just
I don't
saw
know.
a movie called Rats. It may be the funniest movie I've ever watched. Anyway, love you.
The movie, it's called The Rat Saga, actually, I think is what you're thinking of. All right, guys, anyways, enough of this. Thank you, Cold Snacks. Thank you, Tickmark. Thank you guys for the Gigantify emotes. The worst day of your life so far? Yeah, I mean, today could be worse. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, look, again, that was terrifying, and I like to think this game's not that scary, right? Here's how I know this one's not, and this is my, like, logic right here. A Menti, that was a $7 Steam game. Okay, now this is like a $1 itch.io game, right? So if you think about it, that's got, I mean, 7 times the scares, right? Okay, let's begin. How's the sound? How's the volume? Yo, choose body. I don't even want to hear about it. Yo, Brett, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have you heard of the gladiator game called Domina? No, I have not. Put it in the suggestions channel in Discord and I will look at it. Okay. Wait, what did it say at the top? What did it say at the top? Wait, I'm not even... Are you supposed to use a controller for this? No chance it's not working. Are you serious? Dude. No. Oh, I'm in. And now I have to tab back out to get my chat on screen. I'm not stalling. Wait, what did it say? This is nice. Wait, I love this. That looks like my panels. You know what I mean? It's like beautiful art. Okay, let's do it. Green Canyon Golf Club. Ah, this brings me back. Let me tell you something. He's gonna hate this game. Guys, the controls don't work. I can't play. This brings me back to... Find somewhere to jump the fence. I worked at a golf course when I was a young lad. I don't know if you guys know this. I mean, this is obvious. Wait, was I actually right, or am I getting reset? Oh.
Any pounders in the chat?
Why did it make a sound? Like, I thought I, like, died or something. Okay, this is easy. Start hole 1. Ah, yes. The beautiful days of golfing. Can I go up here? Yo, Greasy Taco. Thank you. I love to golf. I still want to golf. I love to golf. I still want to golf. Golf forever. Nothing will make me stop. I'm green for golfing. Golfing is my fun time activity. Yes, golf. Golf lifestyle. Woohoo golf. I long for golf green. This is like, yeah, like Instagram captions, you know, like putting like 70 hashtags at the end. Hey, thank you, Jerk It. Appreciate it, man.
Golf forever.
How do you respond to the allegations that you're a golf merchant? What, I've played, I guess I've played a lot of golf games. Chapter 8, the video game method. The last chapter didn't help. Try this. Sunlight-deprived learners may benefit from this tried and true method. Press R to drop the bag. Use E to select the appropriate club. Press E to place ball on the tee. Press E on ball to enter golf mode. A and D to rotate around the ball. Press Shift to go fast. Control to go slow. Right-click to see guide and adjust trajectory for the driver club. Click and drag with left mouse button to swing. Speed matters. Press E to leave golf mode and retrieve your bag with R. Don't forget it. That was a lot. That was a lot. Okay, so what is it? Fuck. No. R to drop bag. That's easy. E to grab a club. E to place the ball. I mean, look, it's simple. This is easy stuff. And then E to enter golf mode. Maybe exit. Hold on.
Actually, variety. I love you. Thanks for streaming while sick. Streamers are the unsung heroes, I swear. We don't deserve you.
So, I mean, look, I've been... So true. That did not get a lot of air time. Now, did it? That was a weak-ass shot? Okay, so... Oh, I can just grab my bag. I don't have to worry. Okay. This is easy. This is simple. Yeah, thank you, Math Vibes. I agree, by the way. Wait! I'm good at golf! Wait. Stop pressing tab, please. No. Get the putter. Watch this. This is called a birdie. What's the par here? This is called a birdie. Watch this. Oh my god, that is hard to line up. It's like not... It's like three-dimensional in a weird way. I can't believe you just put your bag on the green. Oh my god, that's horrible etiquette. Nah, that's wrong. I'm getting a feel for the greens at this course. You know what I mean? You gotta feel it out, right? The first hole, I mean, like, you're just kind of getting... Oh my god. Oh, this game is gonna piss me off. I already know. Oh, yeah, okay, no, we're good. Just chill. That's not right. No, you guys don't understand. There's no, like, line. Like, in every golf game, there's a line. In every golf game, there's a line. Dude, you guys have to chill on me. Can I reset? Oh my god, that was even close. Can I just push it? Dude, this is just embarrassing. Look away. Okay, so here's what happened there. Hairrock, thanks to Prime. Oh, it was a par 2. Great. Nice. Really cool. I love that animation where you have to be like stun locked to pick up your ball. That's not going to come back to haunt me. I can't look away while grabbing my bag. Okay.
6 shots over. What is this, my arrest report?
Hey. Hey, if I wasn't sick right now, you would get a lot more out of me. That was pretty good. I won't lie to you. I feel like I hit the driver pretty hard and I got...
It's Will 7.
Is it scary or beautiful? I don't know. What's happening?
Now I understand why this game is scary. It's scary to see how bad you are.
Oh, good one. Oh, nice. Really funny. Yeah, it's scary to see how bad you are. Hey man, it's scary to see how bad you are at having a funny TTS message. You jackass. How about that? Well, you can use A and D to rotate around the ball and reposition. Are you being serious? If only it said that. Oh my god, dude, you just saved me from so many VOD channel comments. There would have been at least 3 of people being like, it'd be really nice if you actually listen to the tutorial. So thank you. I appreciate it. That sound scares me every time. Like, even though it's like, I'm expecting it. Hold on. Maybe we just, like, go around, right? Maybe we just go, like... Okay, that I really wasn't trying to do at that time. Wait!
This message is not for you. It's for chat. Can
Is
we
he
please
rage
have
baiting?
a Kirby to spam for Variety Saturday? Thanks.
Dude. Wait, why are you saying right click while aiming? Are you joking? You can... Guys. I am legitimately so sorry. Like, you guys have no idea how sorry I am. Okay, hold on. Okay, but it's still not enough. Like, don't be like, oh, is he rage baiting? Seriously. Oh, he's rage baiting. He's rage... It's not even close, man. Like, why are you acting like I'm the stupid one? There, that's good, right? Don't hit the tree. It's fine, whatever. Just get out of golf mode. Let's just go. Oh, I can't look away. You need to hit it harder? Dude, I am like... My mouse pad is like giving out from the amount of gusto that I'm putting on this thing. I'm putting some serious mustard on it, and I frankly don't want to hear anything else, okay? I want you to know, like, there's like a mark on my mouse pad from like how strongly I am golfing right now. Will every golf game has a line? You said it yourself. It's true, but I just thought this one didn't. Okay, this is gonna be a hole-in-one from here, which I guess would be a hole-in-2, which I guess would be like a hole-in-70 because I've made some mistakes. That's pretty good. The only thing scary in this game is that guy on the right. Look at that shot! Seriously! It's getting dark. Does something happen when it gets dark? Is this like a time-based game? I don't know. I didn't really read about it. I just got it from the Discord. You gotta be, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know. Oh my god, this is so easy now. Okay, now that you have the line, it's like, come on. If I missed there, that would have been so bad. That would have been bad. Let me tell you something. Whew. Close call. Okay, let's do it. That was a par, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. Did you not see the shadow? Stop messing with me. I don't like this. Like, but yeah, you guys, you know I'm scared of scary games. It's like, it's not funny. Hole 3. There's an achievement to get a hole-in-one. I'm gonna get it on this hole right here. Watch this. We're just gonna see where the hole is based on where I am at. Where's the sign? Oh yeah. I mean, this is a hole-in-one for me. How are you supposed to hit it that far? No. They're like, once you go around, clearly. Stupid. Okay. What if I just hit it straight up and over that, though? Wait. Oh, yeah. Wait, but then you don't get much distance, do you? Yeah, okay. There's an achievement to get in my hole? Are you good? What is wrong with you? Is everything okay at home? I'm not holding a club. I'm about to be. As soon as I get to your house. Okay, that's looking like a ace from here.
It's Will 7.
Thank you so much for the sub. I'm so bad at this.
It's Will 7.
No, we're good. And there's a par 4, by the way. That's 3. That's 2 strokes. So this is gonna be a birdie, by the way. And I'll bet subs on it. And I'm putting my bag on the green because I don't even care anymore. I'm a bad boy of the golf course. I snuck in, I just realized. Why do I care about etiquette? I'm stealing a round of golf right now. This is illegal. I'm gonna be in prison for life. Birdie, by the way. Yeah, so... yeah. So...
Hey, the course is closed.
Okay, I know you guys are gonna say he looks like me, but don't. Seriously, just this one time. Can we just all... This is actually my job. Wait, like, this is actually... This is like the one time where you... Okay, you can say. What should I say? I didn't know. I mean, in this situation, I would lie 100%. I'd be like, really? Wow.
It's Will 7.
I'm so sorry. Yo, no drops thanks to the Prime. The devs put you in another game. And thank you, JAA, for the sub. I think in this situation, I would say I didn't. Oh, I had no idea, sir. Oh, was I impeding?
Paul Blart? Is that you?
Sorry, I'm gonna have to pause to drink
Well,
water
it
a
is,
lot.
so you should get going.
I don't like this game, dude.
Any pounders in the chat? This game is a nice look into your character.
I know. I probably should get going. Right? Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I should get going. Yo, Joshua for Bama, Papa Hoop J. Thank you, guys.
I'm getting out of here. Don't break anything.
Much love, big kisses.
Wait, he's leaving and I'm just going to keep golfing? All right.
It's Will.
Why is everyone subbing? What is happening, guys? Whoa, whoa. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Pixelate. Thank you, Papa Jack. The sound is like scaring me. I'm on edge.
50 months of giving you my money and I do another 50 in a heartbeat. Love you, brother. Keep up the great content.
It's the nicest resub message right after I say that. Yeah, thank you, Torrid. Thank you, Jitterpaw. Really appreciate it.
Where you at? You like a
I said, why are you guys subbing? And then he just says the nicest thing of all time. Oh, it's Zordon. Thank you for the 5 gifted. And Janob, thank you for the 5 gifted. And Shrub.
Where you at? You like a super
thank
pro
you.
RuneScape player or something?
I really appreciate it. Okay.
I'm top 5. A lot of people said.
I'm gonna wait for these to play because I just feel like I don't want to, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to break the immersion any more than I already have. Do you know what I'm saying? Yo, Gamers Co. Thank you for the 5 gifted. I really appreciate that.
This is what happens when you do variety. You should quit Oz and do this.
I want to get all the pets. I want to get all the pets. Okay. Can you just
do not say love you or big kisses unless you really mean it.
Yo, love you, man. Big kisses. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Ebit, dude. Thank you, Osborne, for the Prime. Thank you, Grapes, the Prime. Thank you, Foreign Dog, for the Prime. Thank you, Eustace Flask, for the Prime.
You my money and I do another 51
First time chatter need a jump scare.
Love you, brother.
I'm sorry. I feel like if I get a jump scare, there's TTS coming in my ears.
Yeah, I'm top 5.
I'm sorry.
A lot of people said.
Sad butt. Thank you for the sub, dude. I really appreciate it. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Will 7.
Good luck, Will.
All right, I'll get out of here right now, buddy. No problem.
7.
Yeah, I'll be going now. You have a great day. Can I talk to him? Okay. Now, can I hit a ball into him?
It's Will 7.
That would be my immediate thought at this point. Would be, hey, I'm gonna take a ball. I'm gonna put it on the ground. I'm gonna get my driver, and I'm gonna hit one into his ankles. You know what I mean?
Will 7.
Yo, Hung Jeezy, thank you for the Prime. Okay.
Thanks.
Hole number 4.
It's wide 7.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Use control and shift to slow down or speed up. Turning around the ball. Oh.
Chat, can I have its Will hug?
It's Will 7.
Ah. Why is it like dark
My wife
now?
And I missed you, Big Daddy.
Thank you. I really, guys, it's good to be back. Thank you so much for all the subs. Seriously. Okay. Things seem to have changed a little bit. Was there an option for me to leave back there? Or is this just is the game like more linear than I think? Hole 4. Watch out for the middle of this course as the land slopes into the water.
Store give you enough PTO to go to RuneFest, or was your boss pissed off?
Any pounders in the chat?
I don't work at the fucking poop store, dude. Seriously. Stop. Okay, it's not funny anymore. Alright? I haven't worked there for like a year. God. I don't work at the poop store anymore.
Any pounders in the chat?
I say we go like max
saving up
distance.
Sub for months. I know you said it's annoying and a nuisance.
No,
when you
I
said
didn't say it was
hope it's not
annoying.
too
No,
annoying.
I didn't mean that. I just meant like it's the.
The real mystery hole number 4.
Wait, what would a hole? What's hole number 3? Wait, what? No, never mind. Sorry, I don't want to talk about this. Jesus. Can you jump on these? There's no jump. Okay.
Any pounders in the chat?
This game's not scary, by the way. This game's just good. Can we just be honest? Wait a second. Yo, Swezzle. It's moving! Alright. Here we go. Yeah. I'm thinking that's a good shot right there. I can't look away while grabbing my bag. That just is just a, what are the sounds? It's just a nuisance. Can I just be honest? It's just a nuisance. Back off the green. Gotta have good etiquette. I already was kind of rude to the groundskeeper. Why do I keep hearing sounds? Don't care much for that. Alright, this could be like a max distance putt here. I fear. Yo, Rowski.
I just got here. When does the 1 hour driving section start?
Can I just say something about golf, by the way? The greens would never be this slow at a golf course. Like, that is... This would have to be the shittiest course in the history of golf-dom. That is insane. They are, like, not even... They're not even... I just hit reload hole. I'm so sorry. I am actually so sorry. I tried to hit resume. They should really have a resume button. No, we're gonna get... No, we're gonna get a birdie this time. Watch this. I'm not stalling. I'm not scared. You know what? I'm gonna hug the wall a little harder. Just to make sure. Okay, now grab the bag. Let's do it. Insane stalling? Oh, I'm not stalling. Why would I be... Again, there's no reason to stall because nothing scary is happening, right? So it's like fine. No reason to stall whatsoever. Don't be silly. Now watch me hit this from here. Watch this. Check this one out. Here's a free lesson. It's a movie quote for you guys. That was not even near the hole. I'm so sorry. I apologize for what I said. I'm really sorry. Now watch this drive. Okay. Let's get it done. Come on. It's easy. Not forcing around. Let's just be real for a minute. Let's just be serious. Let's make it in 3 this time. I'm just gonna go max strength putt. And yeah. Okay. Okay. Double bogey, huh? All good. No worries, brother. It got quiet all of a sudden, which I don't like.
I'm about to bust.
Nice holes.
Oh, I don't like this at all. Thanks. Did it get quiet? Is this game scary? That's usually my line. What are the sounds, dude? Oh, it's a full loop. Right.
It's time to go home. Ball. Putts. Ball doesn't go in hole.
Okay. There we go. Let's get this going. I mean, we get it over that, right? That rock's no problem for me. I tabbed away from the chat now. You're gonna set a course record? Double bogey's not... Why is it doing that? Double bogey's not that bad. I just feel like something's gonna happen, man. I don't like this at all. On the mountaintop, or like maybe a giant kraken is gonna come out of the water. We could get over this. Well, the monster is triggered by you checking your scorecard. I like checking the scorecard. I like a little score update. See what I'm doing. Watch me get it right in between. Do you see where the rock, there's a gap between the rock and the tree right there? Watch me hit it right in between flawlessly. Yeah. I mean... What was that sound? That was my ball hitting something. It's all good. Right? This game. I hate this. All good. Let's make it happen. Now this is a bit more of a problem, I would say. This is an issue for sure. Hold on. Let me see if I can make something happen. Make some oh yeah. I'm thinking this is where the magic happens. We just sneak it right past this rock. I'm thinking this is where the magic happens. We just sneak it right onto the green. With some serious airtime, as a matter of fact. We just drop it like a pin. I'm good at golf. Don't look behind you, dude. Stop saying that. Okay. He's kind of doing like the eyes up face, you know what I mean? Like he's sorry. Shut up. So something killed him, by the way. Also, where's the next hole, one has to wonder. Don't say gooned to death. Please stop. Can I hit it? Is he like a hard object? A lot of games wouldn't think that far ahead, but I appreciate this one for doing so. You know what I mean? You kind of gotta... Don't say, oh yeah, he is. Come on, man. Right after saying gooned to death, you can't say, oh yeah, he is. Dude, this game. I mean, this is just... Thank you. 4 shots over, by the way. Not bad. Start hole 6. Hey, maybe I will. Where is hole 6? This one? I don't like this game, man. Like, what happened to him? It's not over here. So I have to go through the bushes?
To death. I don't know if he is a hard object, but he was hard, if you know what I mean.
Thanks, man. I think somebody made... No, never mind. You're right. So this area is no fun. Like, that is not... Dude, that's not part of the game, man. It's golf, bro. There's a sprint button. I don't know if there was before. Was there always a sprint button? Is this the hole? What's this? Hello? Oh, no. Oh, no! Okay, I was expecting one of those things where the guy goes, like, comes around the corner, you know?
You know that gator that got your hand? Well, I got his head.
Greener grass. Do you live in a rural area? Is your grass turning yellow? Call us today for a free consultation. That's so nice. Awesome. Very cool. Close the door. Just in case, you know, you never know these days. Darren's Lawn Landscape, too expensive. Stagrin Lawn Care, homes only. Oakmont Services, out of range. Silver Landscapes, overbooked. Greener Grass, specializes in large remote areas. Not many reviews. Bizarre ad. So it appears the golf course. Now listen, I'm not exact. They call me the game understander for a reason, right? Was I supposed to see something? What was
Any
it?
pounders in the chat?
Wait!
Hi Will. What is this game about? I'm late.
It appears greener grass is some sort of grass service that this golf course has hired, and it has led to the untimely demise of the groundskeeper. All right, let's get started. Let's go. It's so dark. I'm so scared. I don't like this, and I'm making all kinds of noises. Dude. Man, we should have just played something else. Do you know what I mean? It always gets to this point where I'm like, God, dude. No one would have batted an eye. Golf is loading. No one would have batted an eye if I just played, like, drink milk directly from cow or something. People would have been like, Pog, variety day. Start hole 6. It's green now. So, something to think about. For sure, something to think about. All I'm going to say. Hole number 6. What do you know? My favorite hole. Oh, yeah. Get started. That scared me so badly. Okay, let's look at the sign. Yes, okay. Got it. Okay, yeah. Of course. So, maybe just a little less mustard on it? Maybe a couple less pepperoncinis this time?
Any pounders in the chat?
Hello.
Any pounders in the chat?
Not too
You're
bad.
a good streamer. Thanks, man.
Hey, thank you. Seriously.
Will 7.
I appreciate that. I'm scared of every corner. Like, there's gonna be a monster of some kind. I'm not holding a club. I'm so scared. Just kill me. Please. There's eyes in the trees. Don't say stuff like that. What's wrong with you? Thank you, Mars. Thank you, Shady. Thank you, Big Meow. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Like, I don't like a horror game where you're, like, locked into an interface like this. Am I wrong? Anyone else just, like, hate that? It's gonna go in the water. Just watch. I don't like any game... Yo! What a shot! Am I wrong? Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Ah! Why did I hit it so hard? I don't know what I was thinking. It was so fucking stupid. Just so stupid. I just wanted it to be like cool. I don't know, man. And now, of course, yeah. Why? I mean, because why not? Why? Because why wouldn't it? Yeah. And now this one, I'm gonna hit it a little less hard, and it's not gonna be far enough, or it's gonna be perfect.
Will 7.
Dude, every time I grab the ball, it's like also scary, you know?
Poodle, speedy, poodle, speedy, poodle, speedy.
I don't like this game, man. And then it gets quiet. It gets all quiet. You know what I'm saying? I have to hit it over this? You're joking, right? No. There's nothing even scary in this game. Like, am I crazy? What was it, just a dead guy? I saw 10 of those last week. What do you, yo, what not, what don't? Thank you so much for the sub. Shady Drogun. This is even scary, bro. What? Oh, because when you hit it in the water, it makes a scary sound. Whatever. Let's just get it across. I've had enough of this. Let's finish this game. Next. You guys think it's possible to just hit it like straight on? Oh!
Where's the hole though?
I can't tell. Pretty good though. Was there actually a guy behind me? Don't say stuff like that. Hey there, Billy Longballs. Long time chatter, first time chatter.
Is this game scary?
It will.
Thank you, Scooby Dick. Oh, this isn't where the hole is. Got it. My bad. Thank you, Dr. Pig. Long time chatter, first time chatter. What does that mean? That's a good trajectory. Look at that. It puts me here, but I have to go all the way back to... Okay. That's a chore. Come on. Flu game? Okay, Dr. Fauci. What's up, Hannah? How's it going? Yo. What's up? How's it going? You should play this game. This game's good. All good. Hold up. I think that was a little too high. Maybe we just take it slow. Do you know what I mean? Maybe we just take it slow. You know? Has anything happened I had to AFK? Yeah, a lot. Let me tell you something. A lot of stuff happened. You missed a lot. How did I make it the first time? Am I crazy? Okay, so the golf bag counts as like an object. They thought of everything. Should I just play it? Should I play it cool? I feel like an idiot. I feel really stupid for this taking me so long. Like, I really feel dumb. Okay, never mind. I feel smart. So I just gotta aim higher. It's all good. Just gotta aim higher. Simple as. No worries. Use the bridge, bro. Dude, like, you say that, but it's way harder than you think to use the bridge. I have a smarter idea than using the bridge. Oh, just use the bridge. Watch this. That's why I'm the golf master and you're the golf jester, the buffoon, the fool. You know what I mean? That's right. Give it a couple little putts, you know? Give it a couple putts. And then you hit it with the driver. That's right. Grab this. Be taking that now. And now you hit it with the driver. Although this one was kind of lined up with the thing, so I guess I didn't really have to do that, but this is lined up with the bridge pretty perfectly, but it's a pretty smart strategy. Just tuning in, WTF am I watching? Why do people type that every day? Every single day, there's like some freak that has to say it. Like, what is that? Is there a quota? What do you mean, what am I? Bro, you just got here. I don't know. Sit back for a few minutes. Maybe you'll find out. Are there 18 holes in this course? Well, it seems like it's cut off after 12, so. Uh-oh. I thought I broke it. Yeah, this is called golf, I guess. I mean, look, nothing freaky or funky about it. It's all going great, as a matter of fact. This game's fun. Kind of waiting for something horrifying to take place, but, you know, it's actually been pretty nice if you think about it. You know, we got a bogey, birdie, a par, all of these sorts of things. And then randomly there'll be scary music or scary sounds. And you just kind of have to push through. Persevere. Please don't read this part out loud. My son watches you religiously. Can I pay you to say that reading books is cool? Fuck, sorry. Man, guys, you know what's better than golf? A really good book, you know? Man, nothing quite like it. I love reading. And you should too. Hole number 8. Oh, man. Hole number 8.
Luke here with the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel. I'm 150 miles north of the Arctic Circle. I'm going to be exploring Alaska's frozen north, hunting ptarmigan and caribou, solo camping without a tent, visiting remote Arctic communities, and exploring some of the most beautiful and inhospitable land in Alaska. Well, it took me about 14 hours to drive here. It's about negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit out here with the sun shining and there's no wind, and it just feels wonderful. I've never explored this part of Alaska before, and I'm kind of excited to look around. I'm going to try to get on top of that ridge about 2.5 miles away, see what I can see. Whew. It is bright out here. This is all caribou tracks. I heard a caribou was grazing on the lichen under the snow. You look right there, there's a grazing patch, there's a grazing patch. Those tracks look kind of old, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for some caribou. I got my rifle with me. Oh man, tell you what, I'm starting to work up a sweat. Gotta make sure to drink plenty of water before it freezes. Well, let's keep going. Oh, there's some fox tracks. Those are fresh tracks, less than 8 hours old. Yeah, take a little snack break. I got into some loose snow and it's hard going. The condition of the snow changes a lot depending on what side of these little hills you're on. One side could be hard packed and icy, the other side could be very deep, full of powdery snow. I'm trying to pick a path along the hard packed icy snow, but every once in a while I have to go in between two drifts and there's a whole bunch of boggy soft stuff in the bottom, and it's a lot of work to get through. My ski.
Welcome to RUNESCAPE. I make fast guides.
There are moments in history that seem like they're read out of fiction. Moments where decisions came down to the last minute or even the last second, forever altering the events afterward. So in this video, we're going to look at two submarine incidents like this at the height of possibly the most tense and consequential moment in global history. One of them just happens to be one of the most brutal and grueling things ever covered on the channel. As always, viewer discretion is strongly advised. In October of 1986, 600 miles off the coast of Bermuda, the Soviet submarine, the K-219, moved through the depths of the Atlantic, armed for the end of the world. Beneath the ocean's surface, the ship carried a terrifying set of weapons. 16 ballistic missiles, each capable of leveling.
It was mid-2018. I was 23 and had driven down to Vermont to see my family and hang out for a few weeks. While there, I also wanted to go camping since my parents' house was just outside of the Appalachian Mountains. When I used to live with them still, I'd go out all the time, but since I moved out, I hadn't had the chance to go out camping or even hiking at all. There was one place specifically that I'd had on my mind for a while. Just before I moved, I found a trail on a forum for people exploring abandoned structures, and I'd been wanting to check it out ever since. This trail supposedly led to an old lodge just right in the middle of the forest. So on a Monday morning, I drove out there. I parked on the side of the road, and the trail was not marked or anything. This was clearly just some rough path made by random people like me wanting to explore the abandoned lodge. It was very overgrown though, so it looked like nobody had been down there in a while. The hike there took just under 2 hours, and while it was mostly flat, it was a pretty difficult walk because of all the weeds and bushes growing into the path. But regardless, I made it. Now, my plan was to camp inside the lodge, because why not? But I came prepared with a tent and everything, in case it was completely destroyed or something. Good thing I did, because it was clear from the outside that it definitely wasn't safe to camp in. Most of the roof was gone, caving into itself, and the logs it was made of were full of thick vines and mold. The door was wide open though, so I peeked my head inside and looked around. It smelled awful, and with all the decayed and destroyed parts everywhere, there wasn't much access to anything that I could look around. There was a door on the far end of the main hallway that looked intact, and I was trying to get to, but it was a bit too sketchy to get there, so I ended up just backing out. From there, I didn't have anything else planned, but with the sun already starting to set, I began looking around for a good place to set up camp. There really weren't many options, so I basically just walked 200 feet out from the lodge and cleared a small spot to put my tent. As the sun set, the darkness slowly covered the lodge in the distance until I could no longer see it, and all the forest sounds slowly turned into crickets and the warm crackle of the small campfire I built. I really wanted to stargaze, but the spot I was in had trees towering over me, blocking most of the view. Plus, it was partially cloudy. So I just sat there, throwing sticks into the fire and thinking about whatever came to mind, until I heard something. I don't really know how to describe it, but it was pretty loud, maybe like wood bowing or bending. And even though I couldn't see the lodge anymore, the sound came from right where I knew the lodge was sitting in the dark. It only lasted a few seconds, but it sent chills through me. Maybe it was just the old wood bending and creaking in the wind, or maybe it was something else. I sat and listened for a while, like 30 minutes, without hearing anything else. It was only an hour or so into the night, but I knew if I didn't check on it now, I wouldn't be able to sleep later. So I figured I might as well go look around while it was still early into the night. I fueled up my campfire with some more sticks before leaving, so I wouldn't have to rebuild it. Then I grabbed my small LED lamp and walked in the direction of the lodge. After only a minute of walking, the structure faintly showed up in the light. It was as creepy as expected. I walked up to it cautiously, passing by a couple destroyed windows and holding the light up. Inside, it was extremely dark. Even with the light, it felt like I could barely see anything. When I got to the door, I was startled for a moment. It was closed. I'd been here less than 2 hours ago and left it wide open. Then I noticed something else. There were scratches, like from nails or maybe a knife, all along the front face of the door. I I didn't notice them last time, so I wasn't sure if they were already there or had just happened and were maybe the sound I heard. I debated for a second whether or not I even wanted to try opening it, or if I should just leave. But it was all for nothing, because when I eventually decided to open it, I couldn't. It felt like something was holding it shut from the other side. I got really unsettled and didn't stay any longer. I backed away from the lodge and rushed back into the woods toward my campsite. However, I immediately noticed something was wrong. Aside from my lantern, there was no light coming from the forest. I started to hurry, hoping I was still going in the right direction. Luckily I was, and a minute later I made it back to my tent. A column of smoke filled the air above what was my campfire, as if someone had just abruptly put it out while it was still burning. I looked around, just standing there holding my lantern up, barely able to see anything in the trees. Hello? Hello? Who's out there? Nobody responded. Starting to feel chills run through me again. I knew it was only a 2-hour hike back to where my car was, so I quickly decided to pack and head out. I took down my tent, and as I shoved the few remaining things into my backpack, I heard something nearby. I stopped for a second and held up my lantern, but still saw nothing. It sounded like someone was laughing. It was quiet, and not like someone laughing with their friends or anything. It was a single person, softly laughing under their breath as they watched me from behind the trees in the dark, like they were insane. I hurried up, leaving scraps behind and booking it to the trail. With my crappy lantern, it was really hard to follow the path, but I did the best I could. Several times I stopped, thinking I heard that soft laughing and worried I was being followed. But whoever it was stalking me out there, they were blending in with the dark perfectly, as I never once even caught sight of them. I got back to the road, getting in my car and driving away. I look back at that experience 7 years later as the single most disturbing and horrifying experience of my life. I don't think anyone can truly understand the feeling of helplessness I felt being out there in the forest in the middle of nowhere at night and stalked by some insane person. Maybe they set up home in that abandoned lodge. I really don't know. But from everything I saw and experienced there, I don't think anyone should go back to find out. I was hiking to a fairly well-known overlook just outside of Glacier National Park in Montana. It definitely wasn't as great as any of the views within Glacier National Park, but it was just a normal trail with no rules or anything. Also, it was just before winter, which around here is off-season for most hiking and camping, which meant nobody would be out. I didn't mind the cold, so it was nice to have the trail and the overlook to myself. I finished hiking up there at just about 5:30, so it took nearly 6 hours. Pretty much, there was this large grassy opening on top of the mountain with a couple stone circles for making campfires and setting up camp around, and a little further up was a stone cliff that provided a view of the whole valley of mountains and forest. You could actually probably see Glacier National Park from there on a good clear day. Anyway, as expected, nobody else was at the campsite or at the overlook. I set up all my stuff by the stone circle closest to the overlook and made myself a quick dinner, then went to sit on the edge of the cliff to watch the sunset. I will say there was a bit of a drop below the overlook, which was kind of daunting at first, but the sun setting over the mountains made me completely forget about it. I sat there and watched it for a whole 30 minutes, until it passed the horizon and got dark outside. Feeling good, I got up and turned to walk back to my campsite, but almost jumped back when I saw a man standing right behind me in the bushes near the edge of the forest. He was looking right at me. But what made it really creepy was as soon as I saw him, he just turned around and left right away. I couldn't see much of him since it was pretty dark out, and he was in the bushes, but the man had no backpack on, so I thought he must have gotten to the campsite just after me and set up his stuff already. From where I was on the overlook, I could really only see my setup and none of the other parts of the campsite. But when I got closer, I still didn't see anything else. And the way the guy went into the forest was not in the direction of the campsite either. I thought it was really weird, but went on with my night. I put some dry sticks into the stone circle and lit up a campfire, then set up my mini camping chair and sat by the fire. I didn't have much else to do that night. I honestly had no plan for this trip. I just wanted to come out here and relax all day and night and enjoy the forest. So that's what I tried to do. Several hours went by. I think it was getting to be around 11 p.m. when I heard footsteps somewhere in front of me. Of course, I couldn't see anything, but it sounded eerily like human footsteps, one after the other, not too far away in the woods. Pretty soon after hearing them, I called out, asking if someone was out there. The footsteps stopped for a moment, like they hesitated, and then began walking again. But whatever it was out there, they didn't respond. Even though it sounded exactly like human footsteps, without being able to see them, and without them responding, I had to believe that it was just an animal, like maybe a deer or something. Because if it was a person, surely they'd respond. But also, it made no sense for anyone to be walking around right now. Eventually, the steps faded out though. Another hour went by as I sat by the campfire. I didn't think the footsteps had me too nervous or scared, but they must have, because I was still very awake, like definitely not able to sleep, even though it was past midnight already. After a while, I knew I wasn't going to bed anytime soon, and I was getting bored, so I walked out to the overlook to see if maybe the stars were out. I left the fire going and got up, walking over to the cliff. The skies weren't too clear. However, the moon was shining down enough to cast a glowing light over the mountains and forest. The breeze was calming and quiet, moving across the valley. I stood there for maybe a minute, before suddenly multiple sticks snapped behind me and a bush aggressively rustled. I spun around, seeing that same man from earlier, but he didn't turn away this time. He moved through the bush and started quickly walking up to the overlook. I began asking what he was doing out here, but the guy just talked over me, holding this disturbing fake smile as he kept moving closer, saying random nonsense and keeping from answering any of my questions, or even acknowledging anything that I said. The way he was coming at me was terrifying, and I tried to move to the side, but he was quick to get back in front of me. And suddenly, in the heat of the moment, I realized what was about to happen. He put his hands out and lunged at me, trying to push me over the ledge. Thank God I was prepared for it, and had a stable footing, and I was a bit bigger than the guy, so I shoved him back and moved away from the cliff. As he stumbled, I tried to run back to the campsite, but he caught up pretty quick. This time, he didn't try to hide his intent. His face was horrifyingly angry and full of rage. I can't even imagine how lucky I was that this guy didn't have any form of weapon on him, because he definitely wouldn't have hesitated to use it. We wrangled around for maybe 30 seconds, but I kept getting the better of him. The guy was pretty skinny, like he hadn't eaten in a while, but he was just dead set on taking me down. After a few attempts though, he was finally beaten enough to run away. I didn't even try chasing or keeping him pinned. Way out here, it just wasn't worth the risk. I got everything together, put on my headlamp, and left the campsite. I made it about 2 hours back down the trail before my headlamp's batteries ran out, so I set up a mini camp in the woods and waited for sunrise, then finished the hike back. I put a report in and talked to a lot of people about my encounter, but everyone has different thoughts as to what the man was really doing out there. All I know is I could have lost my life that night had I been any less careful. This was last year in the summer. I was out on a trail backpacking to a small camping spot with my dog Rocky. He's an Australian Shepherd, so a medium-sized, really smart dog that comes with me everywhere I go, always loving running around and hiking through the woods. This place we were headed to was one I'd been to 3 or 4 times before. I loved it because it was isolated and never had anyone else, so Rocky could be free to run around off-leash and enjoy himself. The campsite was 8 hours down trail, so by the time we got there, it was just an hour or 2 before sunset. The campsite itself wasn't anything special or picturesque. It was just a small opening with nothing but trees all around. I found it calming and nice to hang out in, and safe for me to let Rocky roam around while still being able to keep an eye on him. I tossed my pack down and started to set everything up, which is when Rocky usually does his little patrol around the campsite. I saw him sniffing around and go a little ways into the woods, while I continued to put our tent up, then unpacked the rest of the things into the inside of the tent. About 15 minutes after arriving, Rocky came back to the campsite, but he was acting strange. His tail was down, and he came right up to me, then turned and faced the direction he just came from, looking out into the woods. I almost never see him act like this, unless there was a thunderstorm or something he was afraid of. I stood up and looked out where he came from, but saw nothing. I then checked him, making sure he didn't step on something and hurt himself, but he was completely fine, just anxious for some reason. It was pretty off-putting, especially from a smart and capable dog like Rocky was. I kept on the lookout as I finished setting up the camp and getting the campfire built. As I did, Rocky never left my side, not to explore or anything, just followed me around and kept his eyes on the woods. I will say, every time I looked back to check the woods, I felt a strange, uneasy sense, like I was being watched. I put it off as Rocky just making me nervous, since I didn't actually see anything, but it never really left my mind. I got the campfire going just as the sun fell past the top of the trees, covering the woods in a dark shadow. It was quiet, but it didn't feel as calm as I usually did. I figured I wouldn't though, because of Rocky's unusual behavior, but hoped tomorrow things would be more normal and we could go back to enjoying our time. For the night though, I just tended the fire and hung out with Rocky beside me, listening to the sounds of the forest. About an hour past sunset, Rocky suddenly perked his head up and froze. He stared anxiously out at the trees, ears up and tail between his legs. I looked out, but the darkness engulfed the area, making anything past 20 or 30 feet. He started quietly whining, locking his gaze at the darkness behind the trees. Trusting him that something was wrong, I grabbed my flashlight and pointed it out there. Not seeing much, I started to walk a little further in. Rocky followed closely behind me. I didn't want to venture too far away from the campfire, but from the maybe 50 feet I walked out, I saw nothing in the woods. We went back and sat down. Even though I didn't see anything, I knew Rocky wouldn't be doing this for no reason. But it seemed most likely, and I guess I just hoped, that it was just an animal of some kind, walking around the area. We weren't in bear territory, but I still carried bear spray on me, which would work on any animal, so I wasn't too worried for our safety. Rocky stayed on high alert all night, but didn't have any more sudden moments, and a couple hours later, we got in the tent and went to bed. I could tell Rocky was tired, probably from all the anxiety he was going through, and I was glad to see him close his eyes and fall asleep within 15 minutes. I did the same soon after. This might sound strange, but during that night, I remember having a dream about walking through the woods at night. I was alone. Rocky wasn't with me, and I was just walking through the trees, not on a path or anything. In the middle of that dream, I started to hear a high-pitched noise. Over and over, it kept going, until suddenly I shot awake. Rocky was nudging my face with his snout and whining in my ear, making that high-pitched noise I was hearing in my dream, immediately making me realize that he'd been trying to wake me for a while. I sat up and grabbed my flashlight, feeling the nerves as I unzipped the tent and stepped out to look around. I turned on the flashlight, prepared to scan the area, but immediately when the light came on, it lit up a person right in front of me, like maybe 10 feet away from the tent. They had all black clothes on, with a hoodie draping over half of their face, only showing their distressed beard. I quickly noticed a reflection coming from his hand though, seeing the small blade of a pocket knife shining the light back at me. In that instant, I just froze up, like my whole body went through a sudden shock. The man froze for a moment too, but then started to step forward again, when Rocky began growling. Up until then, I hadn't even noticed that he'd come out of the tent and was standing right next to me. This made the man hesitate, giving me more time to collect myself and quickly reach into the tent for the bear spray. By the time I was back up, Rocky was aggressively barking and moving back and forth, putting himself between us. The man didn't take any more steps forward and just turned and ran into the woods. Thankfully, Rocky didn't chase after him. I started taking everything down and packing as he kept his head up and circled around the campsite, guarding the whole area. Once packed, we started back down the trail. Honestly, even with my adrenaline still flowing,
I told my friends what I'm about to tell you, and they urged me to share it here. It happened back in December, about a week before Christmas. I'm a 32-year-old guy, currently using my GI Bill to go to college in a city in one of the mountain time zone states. I'm so busy with school and work, so I don't have time to go out and socialize often. So I have to rely on a lot of the apps to go on dates. I matched with this really cute girl around my age, and we had a good conversation, and then we scheduled a date. It was at a bar restaurant, not far for either of us to drive, so it was easy. She was very pretty in person, and we got along great. During our conversation, I found out that she worked in a non-cop role at the police station, like a receptionist essentially. I also learned she had a roommate, whom she said was out of town for the holidays. She added that she hated being alone because she had a crazy ex-boyfriend who stalked her. I was a little uneasy at that, and I told her as much. And she said he's harmless, so I kinda let it go. We had a few more drinks, and we were there for about another hour. And at her suggestion, she said that we should go back to her place. We went to her house, and she walked up and just opened the door. She didn't unlock it. It was already open, which I found very odd because she said she had a stalker, that her roommate was gone. She started feeding her cat, and as she was doing that, I saw a bowl of cereal on the kitchen counter. I touched it, and it was still cold, like it hadn't been there for a while. The cereal wasn't soggy either. I asked her whose it was, and she hesitated and said she ate it as a snack before heading to the bar. But it just didn't make sense. Before I could say anything, she just kissed me and put her arms around me seductively and said for me to take her to her room. We started fooling around, and I went to close the curtains, and she told me to leave them open. A few minutes later, maybe 5, we were in bed, and my back was to the window, and she let out a huge gasp. A scared gasp. Her eyes were out the window. I turned around and saw someone in a hoodie, and they took off. I heard the steps running on her back deck. I immediately jumped up and ran out to make sure her doors were locked, and of course, the front door wasn't. I ran to it and locked it, and right when I did, the door started banging. I went to open it because I was gonna fuck the dude up, or at least try to, and she told me to just go back to bed with her. I screamed at her and asked if she was insane. She told me he does this and goes away. And I asked her, "You know this is your ex?" And she said yeah, and to not worry about it. At this point, he started banging on the side of the house on the other end, and she didn't seem at all scared. Kept trying to get me to go back to her bed. I didn't want to call the cops because for all I know, this dude was a cop, or she'd know the cops that showed up who would take her side. I also couldn't just leave because my car was at the bar, and I was terrified. At this point, I started calling her out for the door not being locked, the cereal, and I openly called her a liar. She couldn't come up with any logical answers, and I had no idea what I was into. I shouldn't have done this, but my fight or flight was pretty much kicked in, and I told her, if this is a robbery or some kind of setup, I promise I'll kill you both. I'm not a hard ass or anything, but my fear told me to let her know that no matter what it was, they'd have a fight on their hands. My thoughts of what were going to happen to me were all over the place. I ordered an Uber off my phone and didn't tell her. I just kept arguing with her and asking her what was going on, hoping to just keep her talking and in the room. I stayed right next to the door so I could leave ASAP. Luckily, I never got my pants off and my jacket and shoes were right by the door, so I was able to get dressed. The Uber showed up, and without saying anything, I just opened the door and ran out there as fast as I could. I looked back at the door, and she was just standing there. It's only been a little over a month, but I honestly have no idea what the fuck I got into. I don't believe the story of just a girl with a crazy ex based off of the factors I told you. It feels like either a robbery or some weird fetishized cuck thing. I don't know. Definitely something I'm very mad at myself for. I mean, I'm a 9-year Navy vet, and allowed myself to get into a situation like that. I reported her account on the Uber ride back to the bar. And I told the bartender as well about what happened, just in case they saw her in there ever again. If I remember correctly, this happened in January or February 2024. I was visiting family in southern France, and I didn't want to stay at their place, even if they offered, for personal reasons that I won't share here. Note that I visit them quite often, and usually last minute, so I would never book the same place. And I would sometimes book a hotel room, which was more expensive but better for me, as I don't necessarily want to socialize with the hosts. Even when I would book Airbnbs, I would always search for flats or studio flats, and not a room in the flat/house where other people live, as I want to be on my own. So this is an important criterion for me. So I booked this Airbnb within walking distance to where my family members stay, and it looks very nice on paper. I think it was marketed as a house or ground floor flat with access to a yard and a garden. It was probably one of those cheaper options. I don't remember for sure, but I wasn't going there for leisure or planning to have a very nice place for myself to have enjoyable holidays, if that makes sense. So I really wanted something for convenience and wouldn't pay extra for any kind of luxury. There were not a lot of reviews, but the few ones were pretty positive. So I go to that place with my suitcase, waiting in front of the house. I contact the landlord, who should give me the keys, but he's late. I spent at least 1 hour waiting outside, and I'm trying to be patient, realizing at least the neighborhood is pretty nice and seems safe, even if I need to walk through areas that are slightly dodgy to get there from where my relatives stay. The landlord finally arrives. He seems like a fairly good man and apologizes profusely, saying he was in another town visiting his cousin or friends, and time flew by. First red flag. He says they were drinking and didn't have time to sober up, so he had to speed on the highway on his motorbike while being tipsy or drunk. He stops and asks me half-jokingly not to say that in my review. I get a bit serious and tell him he shouldn't be drinking and driving, but he says he really didn't want to make me wait further. I tell him I won't flag that in my review. Spoiler alert, I will, but I didn't want to start off on the wrong foot. This guy is nice otherwise and seems trustworthy, very chatty and open to socializing, and frankly, I was just happy I could finally get in and drop my stuff. The second red flag is when he tells me I will be living in a small flat adjacent to the bigger house he lives in, but I shouldn't worry because I would have my own place, own bathroom, own kitchen, etc. I didn't like that too much, but I actually think it might be good because I am not super comfortable being on my own in a ground floor accommodation, knowing anyone can get into the yard and access the front door. I guess you could say I'm paranoid. So knowing that someone I quote-unquote know is close by in case something happens gives me a sense of safety. But I was wrong. He shows me around. It all seems okay. It's pretty old, but as I said, I wasn't looking for a luxury stay. The part where I would stay is on a lower level than street level. Not exactly like a basement because there is access to a garden, but I need to walk down a set of stairs outside and get into the flat through the backyard. This shows mostly when I'm in the bedroom, as I see through the windows that it's clearly at a lower level. Next red or rather yellow flag is when he shows me a door close to the bedroom, which is the connecting door between my part and his house. I was kind of expecting that, but thought he might need to at least cross the yard or access through the front door to get into my part of the house. He says his door stays closed and it's locked anyway. Not as a warning for me, not to try to open it, but more like, you'll notice there is the door. It's useless for you. And what's beyond it is not part of what you're renting. We chat a little bit. Too long for my taste, because I was tired and also still annoyed at his lateness, and I wasn't in the mood to socialize. He gives me his phone number because he said the Airbnb chat feature isn't that good, and that it's easier to use WhatsApp, and then he leaves. I start to settle down, open my suitcase, and get changed before leaving to visit the family. I then go back to the place in the evening and decide to have a shower. If I remember correctly, what I'm saying next happened before I took a shower, because I remember locking the bathroom door, which I never do when I know I'm on my own, and I recall being quite anxious when taking the shower. So the biggest red flag before the last drop. I'm sitting on the bed and I hear a knock and someone saying my name. 2 seconds later, before I get the chance to answer, or even understand where the noise comes from, I hear keys turning in a lock and a door opening. As you might have guessed, it's the connecting door next to the bedroom. The guy enters and says he can't find his phone and that he might have left it downstairs. I'm a bit shocked, probably because if he had come 10 minutes later, I would have probably been naked, ready to take a shower or maybe walking around in a towel, since I'm supposedly alone. I know it might sound like I'm just being a pussy, but keep in mind I'm a relatively young woman alone in a house with a man in his 40s or 50s who has control over when he can get into my place at any time. I stay polite and try to tell him that no, I haven't seen his phone. I would have noticed, there's literally nothing except my open suitcase on a couch in the bedroom. He still gets in, speaking a lot, and very fast while I'm sitting there, not fully realizing what's happening and not having a chance to tell him to leave. He looks around the flat and obviously doesn't find the phone. Then he says sorry and probably asks if everything is fine, if I had dinner or something like that, and then he leaves again. At that point, I'm really wondering if I should stay or not, since I know you get refunded only if you cancel 2 nights in advance. I just thought I would lose the money for the night that has already started because it was already after 11 p.m. and the following one, knowing I had booked at least 4 nights. I really needed to take a shower, but questioning if I should, I tried to see if there were available hotel rooms, but it was already too late to book one, or they were already fully booked. I decided to take my shower real quick, wondering if he could hear the shower and deciding that he forgot something else to get in again. Nothing bad happens. I then go back to the bedroom, get dressed as fast as I can just in case, sit down and think. I decide that I will just stay for the night, and I'll probably be less paranoid in the morning if I'm still alive. That's when I notice the chairs in the bedroom. There are 2, and one of them has ropes tied around the armrests. The chairs are in good shape, and the rope is definitely not there to keep the armrests fixed to the chair, as they are just loose. To this day, I have no idea why they were there. I still decide I should sleep there for the night, and try to use a chair to block the door handle in the bedroom, like in the movies. But guys, this only works in the movies. I try with both chairs, trying to pile them up. Even trying to use the ropes one way or another, the handle can still go down enough to open the door easily. I think that at least if I leave them in front of the door, I'll hear if someone tries to open it. But the door opens the other way, and in any case, I didn't know what I'd do even if the noise woke me up. Again, I'm clearly paranoid and anxious, but living alone abroad, my motto is to never ever take risks for my own safety, as I'm usually the only one who can save myself, so it's better to avoid any tricky situation. Doesn't mean I never go out, but I wouldn't get drunk around people I don't trust, and I would take a cab if I feel unsafe going home on my own after midnight. I now live in a city that's rather safe, but has had too many bad encounters. Unfortunately, nothing unusual for most women, not to be careful. So from an external point of view, this is a story about someone booking an Airbnb with good reviews, with a nice and friendly landlord who is just overly open because he likes to meet people, and the ropes are just a detail. But for my anxious and paranoid self, it's the premise for a horror story or thriller, where you shout out the stupid and trusting victim to get away ASAP before the guy comes back. So I decided to call my brother, who came to pick me up around midnight, for me to spend the rest of my stay at his place. I work in food service, front of house, so in the early days of the pandemic, with the restaurants being closed, I was taking work wherever I could find it. An old friend clued me into a medical office that needed someone to come in and do a bit of light filing. I was able to go in at night to limit direct contact with people. So I jumped at the opportunity right away. Ironically, the medical office job had been the safest that I had been offered thus far, COVID-wise. I wanted to avoid the bus if I could, due to crowds, so I decided to swing for a rideshare app. I headed in at almost 3 a.m. because it was after the cleaning crew had left. I was kicking myself for being so cautious though, because I was exhausted. I stumbled onto the block looking for my ride, and to my tired self's great relief, the car spotted me almost immediately and pulled up asking, "Uber?" While I cluelessly wandered up and down the street searching. The ride was taking a while, but I'd only just moved here last year, so I'm not familiar with all the surrounding areas, and I thought nothing of it. I was pretty alert at first, so I was trying to pass the time by playing games on my phone and stuff. But the car didn't have a compatible phone charger, and I wasn't sure the building would have one, so I wanted to save my battery to be able to call a ride back. I shut my phone down into airplane mode and eventually drifted off from a combination of tiredness and boredom. I don't often take rideshares, so being alone with a strange driver often put me a bit on edge, but this guy had a pretty boring car and a very standard look about him. He looked a little like my brother even. Young, clean-kept, listening to jazz. Nothing that screamed, you know. You need to micromanage this trip. When we arrived, the driver tried to wake me up by calling to me from the front, but I was in too deep of a sleep and I couldn't fully distinguish it from my dream. Finally, he awkwardly jimmied my leg to wake me up and kept saying, Ma'am, we're here now." I was embarrassed that I'd been that out of it, so I just gave a hurried thanks. I booked it out of the car and into the building. As I looked around, I began to realize nothing was what I had expected of an office park. I had seen a street view of the building when I first looked up the business, and it had appeared to be a strip mall plaza. The further I went, the more loudly alarm bells were ringing in my gut. The structure was semi-dilapidated, and it was pitch black dark past the entryway. I expected some lights to be off in the nighttime, but not the whole building. I skittered across the concrete foundation, compromising what was left of the lobby area. I told myself they must be renovating, and I followed signs for the stairs. After what felt like ages, but was probably just a few minutes, all I had passed was construction equipment, a couple of locked doors, and some smashed windows. I was certain I was not going to find a medical office, and figured maybe I had mixed up the address. I took out my phone to double check, but once I got it out of airplane mode, I could barely get a signal. I kept moving around in the building, pacing, looking for a stronger signal. I eventually confirmed in my text that I had written down the correct address just by scrolling back, which didn't require service. Since I had only been inside for a few minutes at most, I figured I should try and get in touch with the driver, because if I enter the correct address, then it was only fair he should continue my ride to the correct place and save me the added fees of calling a second trip, considering this was all his mix-up. The app was taking forever to load with my slow service, but before I could get to a cloud of reception, I heard a rustling sound in the lower level of the building. I was on the top floor, and the only stairwell I was aware of was the one I had taken up, so it would force me into the middle of the building. There was no way to exit this situation without encountering whoever was downstairs. In an abandoned building in the latest hours of the night, I figured the chances were high that it was just a tweaker, and I had no desire to try slipping past a tweaker, especially when it was late enough that they were probably on something. I tried to get a text out to a group of friends with my address and a request to call 911 to help me get from the property, because I didn't feel safe walking in that neighborhood at night, and I didn't have enough reception to call a new ride. But the message wasn't sending. Reception was too weak. So I gave up on getting my phone going, and I started checking for another stairwell, or even a window with balconies, or dumpsters that could be used to exit the second floor as a last resort, in the event whoever was downstairs came upstairs. I scrambled over to a door with a stair sign on it, but the stairs were completely dilapidated, and it was essentially just a straight drop down to the first floor. At that point, the worst case scenario began to unfold. I heard whoever was downstairs begin making their way up the stairs. I thought fast and figured based on my walkabout that the floor was basically a giant loop, so I'd have to wait for whoever this was to come up the stairs, wait for them to come all the way up, and then sprint the opposite direction of where they were going, and try to get down the stairs and out of the building in time to make it to the road without encountering them. I was not anticipating being chased or anything, but I didn't want to piss off a druggie or have a homeless person who might be living there feel as though I trespassed and become hostile towards me, or even have any sort of interaction that could possibly occur at that hour in an abandoned industrial park. I held my breath for what felt like 5 minutes, but was likely closer to just 30 seconds, and the person appeared at the top of the stairs. To my great relief, it was just the Uber driver. I figured he had come back for me, realizing he had left me in the wrong spot, a place that could have worked out to be dangerous. So I came out from the beam I was hidden behind, and I started to wave him down. But then I processed. There was no way for him to realize this had been the wrong address. My stomach lurched forward, and my blood chilled to slush. I made eye contact with him very briefly, and he was completely calm and composed, but breathing pretty heavily and blocking the stairwell down. On a normal, rational day, as an outside observer, I could think of a dozen innocent reasons he must have returned. But in that moment, standing across from him, I just knew in my gut that this was someone with ill intent. I can't remember much more from the ensuing few minutes, operating solely on muscle memory and instinct. I Superman dove for the second stairwell's opening and just let myself fall down the drop. Thankfully, I don't think he'd seen where I'd gone at first, and though I was in too much pain to know it then, plenty was bruised, but nothing was completely broken. I scrambled up and threw myself at anything that seemed like it could be the door. It was too dark to tell. I was disorientated from the fall, and I wasn't in a calm enough mindset to think to use my phone flashlight. Plus, in hindsight, some part of me probably knew it would call too much attention to my location. Just before I was able to reach the door, it flew open with a blinding light beaming straight into my eyes. My first thought, though not totally coherent, was, there's another one of these guys. Ugh. And I stumbled backward, trying to find something to hide behind. Before I could, a voice called out. Alright, this is the police department. Everyone get on your knees with your hands in the air. I didn't believe it was the police at first. I was in such a fight or flight mode, and I had already committed to flight that I continued looking for ways to get out. But he kept shining the flashlight right at me as I teetered around and yelled, Hey, I sat on the ground, right now. Hands out. Hands out where I can see them. He sounded so authoritative that I just automatically did exactly as he asked. He approached me and finally shined the light away from me. It took a second to get my night vision, but once I did, I could see that he was actually a police officer. I tried to explain what was happening, but first he started asking me all these questions, and that, combined with what just happened and my fear of the driver coming back, all snowballed into me being unable to form a single articulate sentence. He was even asking easy questions like, Can you tell me your name? Do you have any knives, needles, or anything that could poke me? Would you rather talk in here or outside? And my total stunned babbling in response at first led him to believe I was on something. He directed me out to his car, and once I was safely out of the building, I was able to start getting my
I did deliveries for a popular fast food place in my town during the end of my high school years. My friends all had jobs there too, but they purposefully scheduled us on separate shifts to prevent us from goofing off. It ruined all the fun, but the money was still nice to have. Mostly I would have no interesting stories about my work days, but this one night was an outlier. It was the weekend and I was working until 10. The orders were coming in steady, so I was doing deliveries one after the other. I was going in, grabbing the bag, driving to the house, and repeating that process non-stop. I think it was around 9 when I got this order, but I can't say for sure because I was kind of mindlessly running the deliveries at this point. I got the bag and pulled up the GPS location for the address, then started driving. Halfway through the drive, I realized this was taking me in a different direction than usual. I'd been this way before, but there weren't a ton of houses over here, so most orders would be in the other direction. I drove, not thinking too much of it, until I saw on the GPS that I was 1 minute away. Looking around, I didn't know a single place I could be 1 minute away from. There was nothing but trees and the road. No houses or shops. Literally nothing. Regardless, I drove until the GPS said I'd arrived, which was just a quarter mile further down. I pulled off to the side and did one quick look around, just in case I was missing something. Then I called the customer. The phone rang for a while before they finally picked up. Hey, I drove to the address you put in, but it doesn't seem to be right. Can you please confirm the address? I asked, hoping he just made a typo or something. He repeated the address back to me, but it was the same as the one I had in my GPS. Then he said something I wasn't expecting. "Wait, I think I see you." I looked up ahead, and down the road, there was a person waving at me. I drove up next to him, but I had a bad feeling in my gut. I rolled the window down, and he immediately started apologizing, saying the address was tricky to find sometimes. He pointed behind him, saying his house was down that road. This road he was referring to looked more like a half-beaten dirt walking trail that went through the forest. I smiled and said it was alright, handing him the bag through the window. He smiled back and thanked me, watching me as I pulled back onto the road and did a U-turn. I looked in my mirror at the man still standing on the side of the road and just thought to myself about how strange that was. Not even a minute into the drive though, something started to feel wrong. My car was bumpy and leaning to the right, and it was getting increasingly worse by the second. It started to feel dangerous to even drive, so I had to pull over. Before doing anything else, I called roadside assistance. I didn't know what was wrong yet, or if it had anything to do with that man, but like I said, I had a bad feeling in my gut, and I wasn't taking any chances. After getting off the phone with them, I got out and looked at my tires. My front right tire was busted, and that was the tire closest to where the man was standing, so I put two and two together pretty quick. I looked back down the road where I came, and in the distance, I saw a figure walking toward me. I hurried into my car and locked the doors. He approached slowly, probably knowing the exact situation I was in. As the man got closer and closer, I contemplated whether or not to risk driving on my busted tire, but by some miracle, a truck came down the road and stopped behind me. They got out and asked if I was okay. I saw the man walking quickly back the way he came. I took this opportunity to tell the man from the truck of my suspicions, and he stayed there with me until the roadside assistance truck came, which was only a minute later. I got the police involved, and I wasn't surprised to find out that the name and address the man ordered with was fake. I don't know what he was trying to do, but making me drive all the way out on an empty road hidden by the forest makes me think it would have been more than just a robbery. When I was 17, I worked at my mom and dad's local restaurant. We were never a busy place, but it was enough to get us by. I ran the cash register and occasionally would help out waiting tables and cleaning. My parents were really nice about giving me flexible hours whenever I needed for school or whatever. Over the summer though, I'd be working full 40-hour weeks, typically from the afternoon until closing. This was my second year working there, and during the last half of summer, my parents had me do the closing tasks for most nights. I'd be there for maybe 15 to 30 minutes after restaurant hours to count the money and clean up. It wasn't difficult or anything, but it was just a tiny bit of extra responsibility. Anyway, on this Friday night, my dad and I had a somewhat busier night than usual. We were the only two workers there, aside from the assistant cook. At closing, my dad helped me out for a few minutes, then locked up the front doors and left for the night. I had plans with a friend after work, so I was rushing to get everything done. When I finished, it was a few minutes past 11. I walked out the back door, which led to a small employee parking lot, but I was taken back when I saw some guy right next to my car. He was looking through my windows, like he was trying to see what was inside. "Hey, get away from my car." He looked over at me, showing his face for a split second, then ran into the trees behind the parking lot. I didn't see him long enough to get a good look, but the only feature I could really make out was his long, unkempt, and patchy beard. He was a freaky looking guy, and I was feeling really uneasy as I drove away. A couple days passed, and on this night, it was just me and the assistant cook working the closing shift. It was a weekday, so it was slow, But just 20 minutes before closing, a guy walked through the door. He sat at a table without saying anything. Now, this was one of those restaurants where you go up to the register first to order, then sit down, so this was kind of weird. I waited for a few minutes until I walked up to his table and asked if he liked to order anything before we closed. It was then that I saw his long, patchy beard and recognized him as the guy from the other night. I was so caught up in my thoughts I didn't hear his response. I tried to tell him to leave, but I stuttered, and it came out with zero confidence and assertiveness. He looked me in the eyes and asked for a dark roast coffee, completely ignoring what I said. I turned around and put the order in. I thought maybe this was all a misunderstanding somehow, but I'm pretty sure that was just me lying to myself to make me feel less scared of him. He sat at the table, staring ahead until his coffee was ready. I walked it over to him and reminded him that the place closed in 10 minutes, so he'd have to leave soon. Of course, he didn't respond, so I walked away. I went up to the assistant cook, who I never really talked to before, and told him about this guy and my uneasy feelings I got from him. He patted me on the shoulder and said to get started on cleaning for him. Then he went to the front. I watched from over the counter as he nicely told the guy to leave. The man got up and made brief eye contact with me from across the restaurant, then turned around and walked to the door. I watched him leave, and as he extended his arm to push the door open, a very easily recognizable object was revealed. A gun wedged in the back of his belt. I thanked the cook and told him everything in more detail so he understood my concerns. He called the police without even hesitating, and while they didn't find the guy, he never came back to the restaurant. I'm grateful for our assistant cook, who I'm keeping anonymous for his own privacy. He could have easily just left for the night and let me deal with my own problems, but his kindness likely saved my life that night. When this happened, I was 23 and worked full-time at a pizza shop in my local area. I'm not sure if things were going on before this, but as far as I know, everything started and ended on this one night. Me and my best friend, Tim, worked the night shifts at this pizza place. It was a real small shop, having just 3 or 4 tables inside, because we specialized in delivery and takeout. Both me and Tim got our jobs there while we were in college, but just never left. Being in a quiet, rural town too, the job wasn't too much work. Never had busy days really, just a steady flow of orders sometimes. On this night, there was a light storm outside, and in return, business was slow. There were a few orders here and there, but overall, we didn't have much to do. By 10 p.m., Tim suggested we started cleaning up the place, and maybe even clocking out 15 minutes early. I went with it, grabbing some rags to wipe the tables with, when the phone at the front desk rang. I picked up after a few rings. How can we help you today? Hello? I waited another 5 seconds before putting the phone down and shaking my head. Just some prank call, I thought. I went back to scrubbing the tables, but at the front of the store, I saw a glare coming from the window. There was a car parked a few spots back. I couldn't see too well through the window in the rain, but there was definitely a light on in the car, like a cell phone or something. The pizza shop was on an individual lot, and there were no other cars, so that was the only reason I noticed them. A moment later, the phone rang again. Tim was closer, so he picked up this time. I could hear someone's muffled voice coming from the phone, and after a short talk, Tim hung up. At the same time, the light in the car turned off, and they drove away. I told Tim what I saw, and how it was a little weird, but he shrugged and said it was just some old man who was ordering a pizza for delivery. I looked back at the now empty parking lot. It wouldn't make much sense for someone to order a pizza for delivery from right outside the shop, so I figured Tim was right and it was nothing. He started making the pizza while I continued cleaning. 10 minutes later, Tim boxed it up and handed it off to me to deliver. I ran through the rain to my car, then pulled up the address on my phone. 11 minutes away. Not too bad. I pulled out and started making my way there. The roads were dead, nobody out at all. Google Maps took me down to a neighborhood full of large homes, then had me turn down a long driveway that led to a cul-de-sac, where there were 3 more driveways, each leading to a different house. I went down the one Maps told me to and pulled up next to the home. It was one of those large expensive houses, but pretty old looking and not very modern at all. I parked the car and double-checked the address with the house number, then picked up the pizza and ran up to the front door. Hello, pizza delivery. I took a step back and looked at the front of the house. All of the lights were off. I dialed Tim's cell and had him call the guy who ordered. My phone buzzed a moment later, and Tim told me that his call went straight to voicemail. I shook my head in frustration and ran back through the rain to my car and got in. I tossed the pizza on the passenger seat and started backing out. This wasn't out of the ordinary, getting fake orders or dead deliveries, but it still annoyed me every time. When I got back, Tim was cleaning and said there were no more orders, so we were good to finish up and head out. I tossed the pizza in the trash and started helping him. Both of us were in the back, cleaning the ovens and wiping the prep counters, when a sudden bang came from the front of the building. We looked at each other, then ran to the front. At first, we didn't see anything, but then Tim spotted a small crack on the door. I walked over and opened it, and right outside was a heavy rock, big enough to throw and do some damage with. I looked around, seeing the parking lot was completely empty and nobody was nearby. Both of us were really confused and kind of freaked out. We talked about maybe calling the cops, but neither of us wanted to deal with that right now. To put things in perspective, it was 10 minutes before we were off, and if we called, then we'd be here for another hour at least. The crack on the door wasn't too big, not really that noticeable, so we chose to wait and just tell our manager the next day instead. We quickly finished up with the cleaning and left through the back door where our cars were parked. On the drive home, I rethought all the strange things that happened, and it made me uneasy. I pulled into my driveway and walked inside. It was late, so I knew I had to get in bed soon, but I wanted something to snack on first. I went to the kitchen to see what I had, but before I even opened the pantry, I heard a car splash through the puddles on the street outside my house. From the sound of it, I could tell it was parking. I walked over to my window and peeked outside, seeing a car parked right in front of my driveway. It only took me a second to realize it was the same car I'd seen outside the pizza shop. A cold rush went through me, and I stayed in the window to see what they were doing. The car was still on, but I couldn't see through their window. After a minute of no movement, I took out my phone and called Tim, telling him that I think one of the customers followed me home and was parked right outside my house.
Are you serious? You need to call the cops. Something's not right.
He said, urging me to hang up and call the police immediately. I don't know why I was so nervous to call the cops, but hearing Tim say it made me feel better about it. I moved away from the window and dialed 911. The lady on the line said that they would have someone on their way and that I should stay hidden and wait. I heard a car door open and close, so I quickly said okay and hung up. Looking back out the window, a man was walking up my driveway. He was wearing dark clothes, covering his whole body, and a hood covering his face. As he approached the house, I closed the curtains by the window and waited. His footsteps came to the front door, then they continued across the front of the house until they reached the outside of the window and stopped. The sudden silence made the sound of the rain increasingly louder. I felt like I was standing there quietly for minutes before I stepped forward and moved the curtain an inch to the side, just enough to peek through. The man's cold eyes stared back at me. I let go of the curtain, and the man banged on the window. I stood a few feet away, terrified to death, and just as quick as it started, it ended. There was no more banging, no footsteps, nothing. All that was left was the sound of the raindrops clicking against the window. Although I never heard the man leave, he was gone when the police showed up. No car or man in sight. I told them all that had happened from the middle of my shift to the end of the night. They looked at me like I was crazy, and part of me felt crazy too. None of it made any sense, and there didn't seem to be any motive for the man to have done what he did. Honestly, because of that, the whole night had me messed up for a while. Going through something as senseless as that was really just fucked with my head. I'm hoping that by sharing this, someone may be able to help me understand what happened or why the man did what he did. It sounds odd, but even now, when it gets really quiet on rainy days, there's an eerie feeling that rushes through me, bringing me back to that night.
I used to shop at Target all the time, but recently I don't want to go back there. At least not to the location that I live by. Some creepy and weird things happen to me there. There's really only one Target that's close to where I live. It's been my main store for years to get just about anything. There's some other stores that I go to as well, but Target has the best variety. I've always preferred it over Walmart as well. One night, I went shopping after work. I was getting a lot of items, mainly groceries. I got a cart and began shopping around the store. It wasn't all that busy, and that made things go smoothly. After shopping for probably about 30 minutes, I was almost done. My cart had lots of items in it, and I was in the last area of the store that I would be going to, which was the cold section. The refrigerated items and the freezer items is what I would always get last. That way, they wouldn't melt by the time I got home. When I got to that section of the store, it was empty. I was the only person there. They had a freezer at the back of the store, and I was getting something from it when I saw something strange. It was like movement of some sort behind the items. This particular freezer section was up against the very back of the store leading to the back room. That's when I realized that a person was back there, behind the freezer shelves. I could see between the levels of shelves that they had, but not by much. Somebody was right behind the spot that I was at. At first, I thought it was kind of funny, but I soon realized it wasn't a Target employee. I moved down to get something else, and whoever was there seemed to move down with me. As I was examining a product, I could see that the person was wearing black, not the typical red shirt and khakis that a Target employee would wear. Then, they got closer, and I noticed that I could now see their head through the gap between the shelves. The person was wearing a black ski mask. My only thought was that this was really strange. I moved even further down, and the masked man moved down with me. He was beginning to really freak me out. He kept staring at me from the other side. Luckily for me, I only needed one more item from that aisle. I went to grab it, as the masked man stared at me. Then, as I was reaching for the product, the guy reached over and shoved the whole box of them at me. Multiple items fell onto the floor. I put them back as he disappeared into the freezer. This guy was causing problems, and I decided to tell an employee about him. I walked down a few aisles before finding somebody who worked there. I told them about the guy and how he was inside of the freezer. The employee told me that she would tell the person to leave and that they couldn't be back there. There happened to be doors leading to the back room of the store right nearby, and I watched her walk through them. About a minute later, the employee emerged again. She told me that she couldn't find anybody back there at all. Whoever had been doing that must have left. I hadn't seen anybody else come out of the doors though. I shrugged it off and was done with my shopping, so I decided to head out. I walked up to the front and paid for everything, then left the store. About a week later, I returned. I would say that I went grocery shopping roughly once a week. I didn't have a specific day or anything like that I would go, but on average it was probably about once. This time that I went back to the Target was just like any other. I did all of my shopping in about 30 minutes or so, and then checked out with all of my items. After I left the store, I walked out to my car and unloaded the groceries into it. Then I started driving home. This particular Target has several other businesses around it, like just past the parking lot. There was also a few trees and bushes around for scenery. As I was driving away, leaving the parking lot, I was driving between some other businesses and the Target parking lot going to a connecting road. That's when I saw the same guy dressed in all black and a ski mask. He was halfway hiding behind a bush, and he popped out and looked directly at me as I drove away. I drove right past him in disbelief. This was the same guy who I had seen last time I had been at this same Target. But this time he was outside, not inside the store. It was crazy to me how I specifically saw him. Maybe he just liked to go to Target and mess with people. I really didn't know. But what I did know is that I was really weirded out by this. The way he was hiding in the bushes was concerning. Luckily, I was away from him now and on the way home. After that experience, I didn't go to Target for almost 2 weeks. When I returned, it was just another routine shopping trip, just like any other. I did my shopping like always and then left the store. It was nighttime again, and things were pretty quiet inside and outside of the Target. I had parked sort of in the middle of the parking lot, about halfway back. There were a few other cars around mine. When I got back to my car, I unloaded the groceries again and got inside. I started my engine and was just about ready to drive away. I happened to glance over at the car that was parked directly next to me to the left for no particular reason. When I glanced over though, I noticed movement. It caught my attention and my eyes stayed focused on it. The entire car had looked empty to me. The car was a standard looking white sedan and the back windows were tinted dark, but the front windows I could see through. That's when somebody emerged from the back seat, crawling over into the front passenger seat. It was a guy wearing all black and a ski mask. My jaw dropped when I saw this. He looked right at me through the windows separating us. He continued to stare at me for probably 5 seconds or so as I sat there in total shock. Then his door started to open. I was so surprised, still from just seeing the guy, that I didn't do anything. It was like I couldn't move. After he opened